Gabriel's point of view.
For real? You've made up your mind that fast? After all that hard-to-get act, I didn't expect you to fold so quickly. I wasn't here to waste time with games. I'm serious. I want Katrina. I won't lose her to Jaden. That bastard's already hurt her enough. It's time I stepped up, took the lead, and showed what an alpha's protection really means. How mates are defended. No compromises. If you say so, just make sure you know their full names and we'll get this done. She scampered off, veering into the library. How did you even find this place? I asked, following her in. A werewolf house without a library isn't a proper werewolf house, she said with a shrug. I gave myself a quick tour earlier. Besides, I'm not sure if you realize this, but we witches have a thing for libraries. She glanced around the room, already scanning for what she needed. Now, write down their full names for me while I gather what I need for the spell. Pen in hand, I hesitated. Was this right? I'm an alpha. I don't need a witch's help to win the woman's heart. I just have to prove I'm the one she deserves. The witch returned, holding a tiny glass vial of water and a sky-blue ceramic bowl. Without a word, she poured the water in, folded the paper with their names, and dropped it into the bowl. Smoke curled up in thin tendrils, gray and whispering. Perfect, she said with a grin. Sit across from me. It's time. Don't bother, I said flatly. I've changed my mind. If I want her, I'll claim her my way. Using magic? That's cheating. Her smile faltered. Disappointment flared in her eyes before she stepped forward and grabbed a fistful of my shirt. You don't get to back out now. I risked everything for this water. Stolen from the veil itself. It's yours. Don't let it go to waste. I never asked you to get it, I growled. This whole spell, it's just temptation. And I'm not that weak. I should have known better. I should have buried this hope the second it surfaced. But thanks, you gave me their names. I turned and walked out without looking back. Down the hall, I spotted Katrina. She was darting around the corner, moving fast, like she was searching for me. Looking for me? I asked through the mind link. She looked up. Damn. She's a masterpiece. Magnificent. She hummed, and I rushed toward her. Her big, beautiful eyes locked on mine as she struggled with her words. Is it okay if my family stays a few more days? My brother really likes it here. He doesn't want to leave yet. Of course, love. Whatever makes you comfortable. This is your home now, and theirs too. She shifted uncomfortably. It makes me uneasy when you call me Pumpkin, love, now that there's nothing between us. I stepped closer, closing the space between us. Heat radiated from her like a damn anchor. Why do your eyes, your mind, your heart, and your body say otherwise? I whispered. I meant every word I said to you, she faltered. I shook my head. You don't mean that, Katrina. I see it in your eyes. You're lying. My fingertips traced her soft skin, and she shivered beneath my touch. Seizing the moment, I leaned in, cupped her face, and kissed her, long, fierce, and claiming. She resisted at first, tense beneath me, but then melted as my tongue found hers, starting slow, then deepening, hungry and sure. The bond between us is unbreakable, Pumpkin. Can't you feel it? We're not just mates, we're soulmates. I mind-linked her as my hand slipped beneath her shirt, her skin warm and alive beneath my palm. But she pulled away, breathless, cheeks flushed. I have to go, she said, avoiding my eyes. Jaden's probably waiting. And just like that, she was gone. I stood there, wanting to follow her, grab her, remind her who she belonged to. But my phone buzzed. The screen lit up. Jayden. What the hell does he want now? I muttered, swiping to answer. Jayden Evers, I said coolly, my voice laced with venom. Calling to check if I'm taking good care of Katrina? Don't worry, she's very well taken after. She's not the reason why I called, he cut in, curt and uninterested. Something in his tone hit wrong. No jealousy, no concern, just cold indifference. Silence stretched between us. I need a favor, he said at last. I tensed. Not because of the favor, but because it felt off. He wasn't calling about her. Did he even know she was at my house? Had she slipped away without him noticing? What favor? I asked, wary. My school's in crisis. Kids are hurt or missing. I'm bringing them here but don't have enough space. Can you help? I stayed silent. Not from reluctance, but because this wasn't what I expected. Don't leave me hanging, he snapped. Count on me, I said slowly. But before you send your puppies, make sure they know exactly where they're going. I don't tolerate... Click. The line went dead. Still caught off guard, the witch snapped her fingers in front of my face. "What now?" I muttered. "Is that how you talk to your little human girl? Honestly, you're rough on women with that tone." She smirked. "Anyway, I saw her leave, but she'll be back. Soon. You owe me a big thank you." I stared, confused. "What the hell are you talking about?" "I did the spell. Thanks for the names," she said, her voice cold. I underestimated her. She's got strong vitality. Untouchable. Except to Jayden Evers. He'll finish the job. Just hearing his name sent a chill down my spine. A furious fire ignited inside me. Hot, fierce, ready to burn this whole damn house down. "I told you to stop the spell," I snapped, voice low and deadly. "Do I look like a joke to you? Just because I let you stay here doesn't mean you run wild. I hate sluts who act like they own the place. When I say no, it means no. Who the fuck do you think you are?" She stumbled back, eyes wide with fear, hands raised defensively like a shield. "I thought you wanted her your way," she whispered, voice trembling. Before I could respond, a soft cough cut through the tension. I turned sharply. Katrina's grandmother stood there, tears in her eyes, hands pressed firmly over the boy's ears. Her gaze bore into me, full of accusation and disdain. She heard everything.
Katrina's point of view.
Sandra was driving us back to the pack house, but her cold attitude since I walked out of Gabriel's house was starting to gnaw at me. Why on earth did my body react so strongly to Gabriel's touch? Even now, I could still feel the heat lingering where his fingers had brushed against me, and my lips tingled from our kiss. It felt incredible. There was a moment where I wanted more of him, more of that feeling. But no, this wasn't right. I shouldn't be entertaining these thoughts. I made a promise to Jaden. I swore I'd be loyal to him. Shaking the thought from my mind, I turned to Sandra. "Sandra, did I do something to upset you?" I asked, keeping my voice soft. "No, you didn't," she snapped, her tone clipped and irritated. "Then why are you giving me the cold shoulder?" "Can't you see it? You're just unlucky. No one wants you," Lauren muttered bitterly from the back seat. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, in and out. I refused to let Lauren's venom seep into me again. If it had been someone else, I wouldn't have cared about the silent treatment. But this was Sandra. She was different, special, the first real friend I ever had, the one who made me feel human, made me feel seen. Sandra was one of the few people I cherished deeply. I was about to ask her again when she suddenly slammed on the brakes. "Are you trying to kill me?" Lauren shrieked. But my attention had already shifted. My eyes landed on the one woman I hoped never to see again, the witch I despised. "And where do you think you're going without me?" she asked with a smirk that twisted her already unsettling features. "What is she doing here?" I muttered. "You know her?" Sandra asked, not bothering to hide her dislike. "Not in a good way," I replied as the witch sauntered toward my door. "Miss me?" she purred. We all stayed quiet until Lauren broke the silence. "Who even are you?" "I'm her friend," the witch replied. "Oh, she has friends now?" Lauren sneered. "What do you want?" Sandra demanded, firm and direct. "Just removing obstacles before they become threats," the witch answered cryptically. She began chanting under her breath. In an instant, Sandra's expression shifted into a blank, docile calm. The witch casually walked around the car, opened the passenger door, and climbed in. To my horror, Sandra started the engine again, without a word of protest. "Sandra, what are you doing?" I asked, baffled. "I'm driving. Can't you see I need to focus?" she said flatly. "Yes, you're driving, but why did you let her in? Do you know who she is? She's using magic on you." "Will you shut up, Katrina, and let me concentrate?" she snapped. "In fact, I should be asking you a question. Why'd you let Alpha Gabriel into your pants when you're already mated to my Alpha? Are you playing both of them?" "Sandra, how could you say that?" "I'm not in the mood to talk to you, Katrina." "That's what she does," Lauren added smugly. "She's got all kinds of dirty tricks." "Who?" "I smell jealousy," the witch said in an amused tone. We arrived at the pack house, but what we found there was unsettling. Everyone wore grim expressions. The grounds were crawling with people, clusters of 8 or 10 everywhere. Something was clearly wrong. I needed to find Jaden. He'd tell me what was happening. Just as I stepped out of the car, Sandra intercepted me. "Can we talk?" she asked gently. "I want to apologize," she continued, "for being rude. I don't know what came over me. Calling you those names. Sandra, I see you as my closest friend here. I thought you felt the same." "I do, Katrina." "Then why didn't you just ask me what you wanted to know? Instead, you judged me, harshly, and you said those things in front of people who don't like me." "Don't be too hard on me," she said softly. "You came out of that house with a flushed face and Alpha Gabriel's scent all over you. What was I supposed to think?" "Sandra, Gabriel's scent doesn't mean anything happened," and I didn't grin. Look, Alpha Jaden has had other mates before. None of them lasted. But you're different. You're the first he ever marked. That means something. It gave all of us hope." "And that gives you the right to insult me?" She sighed. "I'm sorry. I really am." "A lot is going on, Sandra. More than you know. Whatever's happening between Jaden, Gabriel, and me is between the three of us," I said firmly. Was I being too harsh? I thought. But before I could apologize, she asked the question I'd been dreading. "All right, calm down. But why do you smell like Alpha Gabriel?" I swallowed hard. "Well, that was..." Before I could explain, Lauren walked over quickly. For once, I was grateful to her. "Do either of you know what's going on? This whole place is giving me anxiety," she said. "Should I call a taxi to take you back to your mother's?" I asked. "That's not what I meant," she scoffed. I spotted Jaden on the porch, deep in conversation with a man beside Jerome. He looked exhausted and troubled. After giving an order, the man nodded and walked off. Jaden and Jerome headed straight to one of the cars and took off. "What's going on?" Back upstairs, I found Pamela and Luciana talking in hushed tones. They only noticed me when I cleared my throat. "What's happening?" I asked. "I overheard Jaden and Jerome. His school was attacked," Pamela said. "What school?" They both stared at me. "Yes," I said. "I don't know anything about it. He never mentioned a school to me." "I don't know much either," Luciana said. "But I heard that some rogues, ones who prey on humans and forcibly turn them into wolves, merged with vampires and attacked them. Left the place in ruins. Jaden built that school to help the victims recover. Most of the students were badly hurt. He's bringing them here," Pamela added. "So that's why the pack is so tense." "I also heard Jaden talking about your sister," Luciana said. "Lauren?" I asked. They nodded. "What did he say?" "He wants her gone, today." I frowned. "Why didn't he tell me that directly?" Pamela shrugged. "Something's off about him." "The school situation must be weighing heavily on him," Luciana said. I walked over to the bedroom window. It was already dark, but I saw no sign of Jaden or the arriving students. The guards were still in their positions. I couldn't relax. I needed to know if he was okay. Sitting on the bed, I called him. No answer. I called again and again. Finally, on the 4th try, he picked up. "Stop calling, I'm slammed." That was all he said. Short, vague, cold. Was it really that bad? I pushed myself up from the bed, but a sharp twinge in my lower abdomen brought me crashing back down. What's happening to me now? The pain intensified, pulsing through my body like a warning. Gritting my teeth, I tried to stand again, barely managing to rise, but froze in horror. Blood was running down my legs. A cold wave of fear gripped me. Something was terribly wrong.
Gabriel's point of view.
The old woman approached slowly, her eyes heavy with sorrow and something deeper. Fear. This wasn't going to be a light-hearted conversation. I cast a glance beside her, where the witch had been moments ago. She was already gone. As I turned back, the old woman was already in front of me. Though shaken, she stood with quiet defiance. Is it safe to talk here? She asked. I led her into one of the empty rooms. She scanned the space cautiously before I reassured her. It's safe. Once convinced, she faced me directly. I overheard your conversation with that woman. And let me be clear, I didn't like a single word of it. You need to find a way to make her stop whatever she's planning, because if she goes through with it, she won't like the consequences. She paused, lips pressed tightly together. Katrina may look small and human to you, but she's not someone to be trifled with. She's in a dangerous world now, and the last thing she needs is to suffer more because of you people. You don't need to worry. I meant it when I said I'll protect her. With my life, if I have to. I'll do the same for you and her brother. But please, if you can, tell me more about her. Her past, her life. She shook her head gently. If Katrina hasn't told you, it's not my place. Before I could say more, Atticus mind-linked me. Jaden's people had arrived. I excused myself when Atticus mind-linked me about the arrival of Jaden's people. As I reached the door, I paused and turned back to face her. With all due respect, I said firmly, please take Katrina's brother and return to your rooms. I won't explain right now, but I don't want anyone wandering around, not at this moment. Of course, she replied quietly. The moment I stepped outside, I stopped cold. 3 buses. You've got to be kidding me. Did Jaden bring the entire damn school? Alpha, what should we do? Atticus called, urgency tightening his voice. It's getting out of hand. They can't control their wolves. First, have the elders lock down the pack. Make sure every member is secured in their rooms, I ordered. Then bring out more men and women. The women will handle the young females. They're already heading for the hills. Right away, Alpha. He nodded and disappeared into the house. I mind-linked Dalton next. Secure the perimeter. These pups are on the edge. Fear and confusion are driving them, and that makes them dangerous. The bus carrying the young females was a mess. Wolves were clawing at the windows, shattering glass and snarling loudly enough to shake the metal. The few who hadn't shifted were screaming in panic. I swore under my breath. This chaos wasn't part of the deal. I moved to step in, but before I could, Cora emerged with a group of packwomen at her back, all of them ready. Leave it to us, Alpha, she said coolly. We've got this. Satisfied that the situation was being handled, I returned to the house, but my relief was short-lived. There she was, Katrina's grandmother, walking into the kitchen with an empty jug. Didn't I just tell her to stay in her room? I followed her in, biting down on the words building in my chest. Please return to your room. I wasn't trying to disobey. I just forgot to refill the jug. I'll have someone do that. No need, I'm already here, she insisted. I exhaled slowly, reining in my temper. If I wanted any chance with Katrina, I needed to treat her family with patience. I was about to explain why I needed them confined when a sharp scream split the air. Instinct kicked in. Get out, now! I barked. Glass shattered. A black wolf crashed through the window, teeth bared, eyes locked on the old woman. She froze, the jug slipping from her hands. I lunged, pushing her aside and grabbing the wolf by the neck. With a roar, I flung it back through the broken frame. It landed hard, yelping. This is what I wanted to avoid, I told her, heart racing. They're too dangerous now. If anything had happened to you... She clutched her chest, shaken. I didn't know it would be this bad. Katrina warned me, but I just wanted water for her brother's medicine. I get it, but now, please go. Things are escalating. I mind-linked Freya. Get to the kitchen, now. On my way, Alpha, she answered immediately. I turned back to the old woman and my blood ran cold. Blood seeped from her thigh. Broken glass must have cut her when I shoved her. Freya arrived just in time. Relief swept through me. I'm sorry, Alpha. I should... Later, help her first. Both women flinched at my sharp tone. The wound is deep. She can't walk, Freya said. I raked a hand through my hair, trying to stay composed. You're a strong bitch wolf, Freya. Handle this. Now. My phone buzzed. A message from Jaden. Before I could open it, another scream echoed. When will this madness end? I leapt through the shattered kitchen window, glass scraping my legs. I didn't care. Outside, chaos erupted. Some in human form, others fully shifted. My pack struggled to contain the feral new arrivals. All of you better calm the hell down before I rip your damn throats out, I roared, releasing my alpha tone. Silence. This isn't your alpha's ass pack. This is my pack, my people, my orders. If anyone has a problem, my warriors will be more than ready to handle it. Understood? More silence. Most of them obeyed, trudging toward the shelter area. But a few, led by the same wolf that broke through my window, weren't done testing my patience. One lunged at my warrior and bit his arm. I snapped. Half shifted, I seized the wolf and slammed it down. Without hesitation, I tore out its throat and hurled it to the ground in front of the others. They recoiled, except for one. "That was my husband, you bastard. I don't care who you are. I'll kill you myself," she screamed, shifting midair. I struck her hard, sending her flying. She landed on the steps, shifted back, and clutched her side in pain. And then I heard it. A faint heartbeat. She was pregnant. God help me, did I just hurt a pregnant woman?
Katrina's point of view.
I curled up on the soft rug, gripping my belly as if that alone could hold me together. The pain tore through me, deep, sharp, and relentless. It stole my breath, leaving me gasping, too weak even to scream. I fumbled for the phone, my hands trembling. Calling for help was useless. The only one who could reach me through the distance was Jaden, and our mind link was too weak now, too far. The pain in my abdomen surged upward, snaking through my body until it pounded against my skull like a relentless drum. My head felt like it was caving in under the weight of 100 dumbbells. I could barely stay upright. What's happening to me? This wasn't normal. The blood? I might have blamed it on my period, but no period had ever felt like this. This was something else. Something wrong. My strength gave out. The room tilted. My vision blurred into shadow. And then, nothing. "Katrina!" A voice cut through the void. I forced my eyes open. Blurred shapes shifted. Then I heard it again. Lauren. "Katrina, get up. This is no time to pass out. We need to move. If we don't, we're done for. Jaden's right behind us." Her words made no sense. Jaden? Why would he be after us? My body felt wrong, off, heavy. I blinked again and sat up, only to realize we were in the woods, and I was heavily pregnant. Panic surged through me. "What's going on?" I rasped. "Why are we in the forest? What do you mean Jaden's chasing us? And Lauren, since when did you become a werewolf?" She didn't answer. Her eyes widened in horror. "There he is," she whispered, backing up. I followed her gaze and froze. Jaden's wolf stood ahead, massive and silent, his eyes locked onto mine. Relief flooded me. He's here. Maybe he can help. "Jaden?" I tried to reach him through the mind link, but there was no reply. Then he shifted. The man who emerged wasn't the Jaden I remembered. His eyes were cold, hard. "Where do you think you're going?" he growled. "With my kids?" Fear twisted in my chest. I backed away instinctively, my hands protectively over my belly. "They're not yours," I gasped before I could stop myself. "They're Gabriel's?" My own words stunned me. "What?" I stepped forward to explain, but Lauren grabbed my arm. "Don't go to him," she warned. "He's not your mate anymore. He's here to kill you." Then she shifted into a glowing white wolf and stepped in front of me, her body tense with readiness. I could barely process it. "Lauren? A wolf?" Jaden let out a bone-chilling growl and shifted again. Before I could blink, he was on her. He pinned Lauren under his massive weight, his fangs inches from her throat. "Stop!" I shouted. "Please don't hurt her. I'll go with you, just don't hurt her." But he didn't stop. With a brutal snap, he tore her head from her body and flung it into the trees. "No!" I shrieked, falling to my knees, the pain in my belly spiking so sharply I couldn't breathe. Jaden's wolf turned, blood dripping from his mouth, and lunged for me. His teeth sank into my neck. "You'll never escape me," he said through the mind link. "You can run, but I will always find you, always mark you, over and over again." I sobbed, gasping. "Do you really have to do this while I'm like this?" I looked down at my big belly. "Then stop betraying me," he growled. "This is only the beginning. I'll make sure your life becomes a living hell." Suddenly, a huge familiar serpent sprang from the shadows, wrapping its thick coils around Jaden and hurling him into a tree. He hit it with a loud crack and shifted back to human form. The snake pinned him again, baring its fangs, ready to finish the job. I recognized it, the same snake that had saved me before, the one that killed my captor. No, please, I pleaded, dragging myself closer. Don't hurt him. He's still my mate. And the father of my babies. Please. I need him. They need him. The snake paused, flicking its tongue as it stared at me. Its hot breath made my skin crawl. Why do you keep defending him? It hissed in a strange language I somehow understood. He hurts you, betrays you, and still, you choose him. I could barely breathe. This can't be real. Please, someone, wake me up. Pumpkin, there you are. I turned my head. Gabriel stood behind me, warm and alive. I opened my mouth to speak, to tell him what happened, but the words caught in my throat. Jaden was gone. Lauren, gone. Even the snake, the blood, the forest, all gone. I was sitting alone in the grass, a bottle of water in my hand. Gabriel knelt and gently pulled me into his arms, holding me close, one hand caressing my belly. If you needed some fresh air, you should have taken your man with you, he whispered, resting his chin on my head. I don't like the idea of my 3 favorite girls wandering off alone. I pressed against him, trembling. What's happening to me? I whispered. Why does it feel like I'm slipping in and out of something I can't escape? I jolted awake. A hand was on my forehead, warm and veiny. Jaden. He was crouched beside me, his face pale, his clothes torn and stained with blood and dirt. I closed my eyes in pain. Enough, I mumbled, brushing his hand away. I looked down. Soft rug. Jaden's room. What happened? He asked softly, reaching to help me sit up. I shrugged him off, not out of anger, but because I didn't know what was real anymore. The dream, vision, whatever it was, it clung to me like smoke. The pain was gone, but the confusion wasn't. It seems you don't want me here, he said quietly. You've got a fever. I'll get a doctor. Then he stood and walked out, slamming the door behind him. I stared at the closed door, my chest tightening. This isn't the Jaden I know. He would never leave me like this. Not over a misunderstanding. So why did it feel like I was losing him anyway?
Jaden's point of view.
After slamming the door, I froze, anger and guilt burning through me like acid. Why the hell did I walk out on her like that? I clenched my fists. The school being attacked, the students injured, that's a heavy burden. But no matter how grave the pack's problems, my mate always comes first. Without wasting another second, I reopened the door and stepped back into the room. She was still curled up on the rug like she hadn't moved at all. My chest tightened. Alpha, we have a serious problem. Aaliyah and Elia mind-linked me simultaneously. What kind of problem, can't you tell Jerome or Maverick? I asked. We found a human girl. She was bitten by one of the students, Aaliyah said. We tried reaching both Beta and Delta, but I get it, I cut in. Aaliyah, take the bitten human to the basement. I'll be there shortly. Elia, keep trying to reach Jerome or Maverick. I turned my attention back to Katrina and knelt beside her. Her eyes fluttered open, glassy, rimmed with tears. But the fever was gone. Relief flooded me. What's wrong, baby? Are you still in pain? I asked. She shook her head. I'm not hurting anymore. Her voice was barely audible. Then why are you still curled up here? I asked gently. Come on, let me get you to bed and call a doctor. She grabbed my wrist weakly. I'm fine now. I had this awful pain in my lower belly, then my head, but it vanished. I'll just take a quick warm bath and rest. She paused. Jaden, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be bratty. I blacked out and had the strangest dream. I thought I was still in it. And I'm sorry for staining your rug. She moved her legs to show me the dried blood. I stared at her pale face, her parched lips. My heart clenched. Without another word, I scooped her into my arms and carried her into the bathroom. I filled the tub with warm water, undressing her gently, one layer at a time. "I can manage," she mumbled. "Don't say a word," I replied firmly. I eased her into the water and began to wash her slowly, carefully, my warrior, now so fragile. As I parted her legs to clean her properly, she caught my wrist. "I'll do it." Her cheeks turned a soft shade of red. "Still shy around me?" I smirked. "When all this madness ends, I'll make sure to strip every ounce of shyness from you." She looked away and I gently resumed, keeping my touch soft and respectful. After I dried and dressed her, I carried her into her old room and laid her in bed. Her fever had completely faded. "How about you, Jaden? How are you holding up?" she asked. "Don't worry about me. Pack trouble is nothing new. We'll get through it." Pamela stepped into the room. "I'll stay with her for now," she said gently. "Thanks, Pamela," I replied before stepping out. I headed straight for the basement, finding Aaliyah pacing. She stopped when she saw me. "Where did that human come from?" I demanded. "We're not sure, Alpha," she replied. I walked past her and looked down at the girl lying unconscious on the ground. Blood matted her hair to her face. I brushed it aside and froze. Lauren. 100 questions rushed through my mind. Why is she still here? I gave strict orders to return her home. How did she get bitten? "What should we do with her?" Aaliyah asked. Before I could respond, Maverick rushed in, urgency in his every step. "Do we still have enough space?" I asked. "We don't, Alpha. We've split the survivors into sections. The stronger ones will have to sleep outside until we sort something out." "Understood. We'll find a solution." Jerome joined us next, Aaliyah trailing behind him. His face was scratched. Hands were bruised. "They fought back," he said. "I had to handle it my way. Separate the violent from the others." "I need both of you in my office," I said. Jerome paused, eyes landing on the girl. "Is that Katrina's sister? I thought she was gone." "She was supposed to be. Now she's bitten. We have no choice but keep her here." "Should we erase her memory?" he asked. "We can't. She's already bitten. She'll transform. She needs to remember everything and learn quickly." "That job falls to both of you," I told the twins. They bowed in acceptance. In the office, both Jerome and Maverick presented possible solutions, but nothing felt right. "We may need to buy a larger property for the entire pack, or at least separate housing for the new ones," Maverick offered. "It's not a bad idea." "I'll think about it," I said. "They're scared now," Jerome added, "but give it time. They'll find their strength. You both have earned your rest. I'll let you know what I've decided by morning." Later that night, while everyone turned in, I chose to patrol. I walked through the grounds, checking on every soul under my care. Many of the students were asleep under the stars, some in blankets, others huddled in quiet clusters. Despite the chaos, they were safe. That's what mattered. I turned to head back when a small voice called out behind me. "Alpha!" I turned. A timid teenage boy stood there, nerves all over him. "There's something you should know," he said. "Speak." "It's the principal," he whispered. I saw him talking to a vampire and a rogue, giving them details about the school security and something about the attacking plan. I stared, silent and simmering. The bastard. No wonder he'd vanished. If this was true, I'd rip his damn head off for the lives of people I've lost. "Thank you. Go get some rest. I'll handle it." He bowed and hurried back. I returned to Katrina's room only to hear two women whispering, Pamela and another woman, one I instantly recognized. "A witch." "What's going on here?" I growled. They spun around. "We've met," I said coldly to the witch. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" Pamela stepped in. "She's an old friend. I invited her. She's leaving soon." "She better. I don't want to see her again." "If it wasn't for that girl, Pamela, that wretched witch would have destroyed you," my wolf growled low inside me. "What are you talking about?" I asked, narrowing my eyes as I stormed out. "You don't need to know," he snapped curtly. shutting me out completely. I slipped into our room and found her on the phone with her brother. I didn't interrupt. I cleaned up, pulled on my shorts, and returned to her side. She smiled at me as she said her goodbyes. The sight of her, alive, safe, glowing, melted every wall inside me. She scooted over, patting the space beside her. Instead of lying beside her, I climbed over her, parted her legs, and hovered above her. "Would you let me?" I asked, my voice a low rumble. She answered with a hum. That was all I needed. I slid her clothes off, kissed my way down her thighs, and buried my face between them, worshiping the woman who carried my heart and my future. I latched onto her swollen clit, my tongue moving with a desperate urgency, as if my very life depended on it. I lavished her with relentless flicks and licks, tracing every contour with fevered attention. Then I slipped my tongue deep inside her warm, soaking wet heat, fucking her mercilessly. Her body bucked beneath me, writhing uncontrollably, each movement a testament to the pleasure I was giving. She felt incredible, every inch alive under my touch. Lips, teeth, tongue. I explored her thoroughly, leaving no place untouched. I trapped her clit gently between my teeth before sliding 2 fingers inside, feeling her heat grow even wetter, the slick, wet sounds filling the air like a symphony. "Jayden," she moaned, her body trembling violently. But I didn't stop. I slid a 3rd finger inside, driving her into deeper, more frantic squirming. Just as she hovered on the edge of release, I pulled back. "Why did you stop?" Her flushed face burned with frustration and need. "Fuck!" She looked stunning like that. "Calm down, baby. We've got all night," I whispered, planting wet kisses along the sides of her thighs, trailing upward past her belly button until I reached her breasts. I circled my tongue slowly around her areola before flicking her hardened nipple, fondling the other with one hand. Her soft moans and the way she whispered my name stoked a fire deep inside me. Then with sudden urgency, I pulled away, sliding off my shorts in one smooth motion to reveal my length. I grasped her legs, drawing her over me, spreading them wide as I settled between them. Taking her hands, I lifted her into a seated position. As a woman who knew her own desires, she took control, starting to stroke me with practiced confidence. She began stroking me slowly, every movement driving me wild with pleasure. Teasing me, she licked away the beads of pre-cum before taking half of my engorged, throbbing length into her warm mouth. "Fuck, yes," I groaned, my hands clutching the back of her braids as she skillfully stroked me deep. I thrust gently into her mouth, savoring the sensation of her warm throat engulfing me. "It feels heavenly," I groaned, "when my cock flicks against your slick tongue." She swallowed every drop, then wrapped her lips around me again without hesitation. The tension inside me mounted unbearably until I finally pulled free, spurting hot, shuddering streams over her flushed skin. I tipped her chin up, eyes burning with admiration. "You were born to amaze me, baby. I never knew you were this good." She smiled, seductive and confident. "That's because you're a good teacher." Sliding into a comfortable rhythm, I entered her slowly, drawing a sharp hiss in a buck of her head. No matter how soaked she was, she always made that face when I slipped inside. I plunged deeper, harder, one hand circling and teasing her clit as she moaned my name in filthy words. Together we crashed over the edge in a fierce, shuddering wave of pleasure. I stayed atop her, still inside, catching my breath. I needed this so fucking bad. "I needed you, baby," I whispered, pressing my lips to hers, diving my tongue deep, making her tremble beneath me. Eventually, I pulled away and curled next to her. We lay in silence, sharing warmth until I broke it. "Katrina, you know the pack has grown in number." "I haven't seen them all, but it sounds like quite a few," she said. "Yeah, I talked to my men. One suggested we buy a new place for the students." "And what are your plans?" she asked, her face unreadable. "I'm thinking it over, but haven't decided yet." She listened silently for a long moment, I brought my face close, nuzzling her nose. She inhaled slowly. "What's on your mind, my love?" Her gaze held me, eyes searching, lips parted. She seemed ready to say something but held back. Nothing much. I'm just exhausted," she replied, closing her eyes. I slipped out of bed and went through my morning routine before heading outside to check on the students. It was still early. They were all asleep. Watching them rest, an idea struck me. I strode to the poolside, scanning the vast acreage until I knew what I had to do. Pulling out my phone, I called Gabriel. I knew he'd be up. "Hey, man, is everything okay over there?" I asked as he picked up. "Your pups are pieces of work," he said grimly. They were getting so out of control, one even tried to kill Katrina's grandmother. I stopped him. "Good you called," he said. "I killed him and 2 more. They were pushing it, but I'll keep them in line as long as they're in my territory." "How's she doing now?" I asked. "She was alarmed, but she is doing fine, I think," he replied. "Send them to my place. I want them safe with Katrina." There was a pause. "What's gotten into you? Last time we talked, you acted like you didn't care about her. Now you're—" His voice trailed off. "Wait, is that witch at your house? If she is, get her out. She's dangerous. She wants to hurt Katrina. Why would she? You're the one she wants. She sees Katrina as an obstacle. Listen, Jaden, I'm not giving up on her. Our bond is still real. I won't use cheap tricks, but I can't let anyone hurt her." His voice was fierce. "I'll get back to you," I said, hanging up before he could say more. "Beast," I called my wolf. "What did you mean when you said if it wasn't for Pamela, that witch would have gotten to me?" My wolf growled. "Are you hiding secrets?" I asked. "You know the witch wants you for reasons unknown, and," I pressed on, "she made a breakup spell. I fought it, but Pamela stopped it. That girl's magic is stronger than hers. Human, I never felt this scared before. The look the witch gave Pamela was terrifying. It haunts me. Why didn't you tell me? I thought it wasn't necessary. You're already dealing with so much. Besides, Pamela's power protects our mate, and spiritually, she's shielded. Still, Pamela helped me escape Witchcraft's grip. But what if the witch tries something physical? I need to check on her." My instincts kicked in hard. Panic surged through me. I had to make sure she was breathing safely. "Relax," my wolf assured me. "She's fine. No one can enter your bedroom. But we have a bigger problem. Edward is near. I smell him." Before I could respond, my wolf took over. I shifted and surged into the woods, tracking Edward's deadly scent. My mind stayed with Katrina, uneasy despite the safety spells. When I shifted back to my human form, I barely recognized Edward. His face and body were burned, raw from the rising sun's curse. "Your brother did this to me," he said, watching my expression closely. "He thinks I'm dead, but I managed to escape. To warn you, he's more dangerous than I ever imagined." I narrowed my eyes. "What does your son killing you have to do with me?" "He hates you," he growled. "He believes I sided with you to destroy him. His strongest allies are the very enemies you made in your past, the 3 witch siblings who never leave his side. I don't know if you'll be able to defeat him with them backing him." His breath came ragged, thick with exhaustion. With a deliberate motion, he slipped a sterling black ring from his little finger. The moment it left his hand, the ring burst into ash, scattering like smoke in the air. I stood there, head bowed, staring at the ashes of the man who stole my happiness. A man I thought dead for 30 years, but who'd survived. Was he really gone? Would he return? "This time he's gone for good," my wolf growled fiercely. "Pull yourself together, human." "Right," I said, "but we need to check on Katrina." We sprinted back to the house, where my men lined up the students, briefing them on pack rules. I gave the go-ahead nod and headed inside. I passed the dining room, which was in chaos. Upstairs, I heard a desperate whimper from Katrina's room. "Someone help!" It was Pamela's voice. I rushed to the door and opened it, then collapsed backwards in shock. "Mr. Alpha, please, my friend. She's not breathing."
Author's point of view. Luciana watched helplessly as the witch teamed up with Vivian's daughter, Elelliana, to hurt Katrina, and perhaps even kill her. She wanted desperately to warn Katrina about their scheme, but she was powerless. The witch could sense her presence, even though she couldn't see her, and had discarded every kind of magical inhibitor to stay protected. Early that morning, when Jaden had left and the house was still empty, Elelliana gathered a generous amount of olive oil and sprinkled it across the floor of Katrina's old room. With a proud smile, she muttered to herself, just as the witch stood silently nearby, staring at Jaden's bedroom door. "Should I call her out?" Elelliana asked, grinning widely. "No, I'll do it," the witch replied coolly. "Go take care of yourself. You smell like olive oil. You don't want to get caught." Once Elelliana disappeared, the witch pushed the door open and stepped inside, closing it quietly behind her. She took a moment to admire the room's elegant design before moving closer to Jaden's bedroom door. "Jaden!" Katrina's soft voice echoed from the far side of the room. The witch trotted over, jealousy curling in her chest as she saw Katrina tidying the disarrayed bed. Katrina pulled the duvet up around her, surprise clear in her eyes. "No one's allowed in here. How did you get in?" The witch's lips curled into a mocking smile. "I see you're the happiest woman alive, but have you ever stopped to wonder if the man you love is really who you think he is?" Katrina's gaze hardened. "If you don't like seeing us together, just bear with it. I'm not leaving him, no matter what your reasons are." The witch snickered scornfully. "Oh, really? How about I tell you what he's done behind your back?" Katrina grabbed Jaden's shirt and yanked it on before swinging her legs over the side of the bed. "Now you really need to leave. I'm not interested." The witch's eyes swept over Katrina's body, beneath Jaden's oversized shirt, her envy flaring so fiercely it almost made her burst. "I'll show you the door, if you forgot where it is," Katrina warned, moving toward the door. But the witch gripped her hand so tightly that Katrina winced. "I'm still talking to you. We may hate each other, but I pity you. As a woman, I pity you. You'll never conceive for the rest of your life because of the man you love. Your mate, Jayden Evers, bartered your ovaries to the witches for his own gain." Katrina's eyes widened in shock and disgust at the cruel accusation. "I know that look, but if you don't believe me, ask him. He's just across the hall, waiting to tell you the truth." Katrina stormed out, only to find Elelliana standing in the hallway, her expression full of contempt. "I never liked you," Elelliana spat. "None of the pack likes you. We all despise you. Don't get cocky just because the alpha marked you as his mate. You're nothing but a filthy bitch warming his bed. When he's done with you, you'll be discarded like an old rag." Before Katrina could respond, Elelliana grabbed her hand, shoved her back inside, and slammed the door shut. Then she knocked on Jaden's door and called out to the witch. "I did my part. Now I have to get back to my room before anyone wakes up." They walked away, but the witch paused, eyes widening as she spotted the tiny hidden cameras. Fear flooded her as she hurried down the long hallway, leaving a yowling Katrina behind. When Elelliana pushed Katrina inside, she lost her balance and slipped, her head hitting the vanity dresser. "Why are you doing this to me?" she whispered before her vision blurred. "Pamela, you need to wake up. Katrina is in danger." It was the millionth time Luciana tried to rouse her, but her energy was drained by the witch's magic. She was fading fast, yet she clung on, desperate to help her new friend. Luciana exhaled a cold breath onto Pamela's face. Immediately, Pamela's eyes fluttered open. "Katrina's in trouble!" Pamela gasped, then disappeared. Without hesitation, Pamela split over and rushed to the scene. But upon entering, she too lost control and tumbled onto her backside. She screamed for help when she saw Katrina's condition. Moments later, Jaden burst into the room, drawn by Pamela's wails. "Mr. Alpha, please save my friend. She's not breathing," Pamela pleaded. Jaden scanned the room, his jaw clenched tightly. "Who did this to her?" His eyes flashed red with fury. Pamela flinched. I have no idea. Luciana told me Katrina was in danger. When I rushed here, I found her unconscious on the floor. Jaden paused sharply at Luciana's name, but snapped back when he felt a hand on his. It was Katrina's. She's breathing, Pamela whispered. Jaden steadied himself and carried Katrina to the pack hospital. Later, the doctor approached him with a bow. We've stitched her wounds. She's stable for now. Assign a nurse to watch over her until I return. Without hesitation, Jaden darted back to the pack house and into his office. Sitting heavily in his chair, he opened his computer and watched everything unfold from start to finish. His fist clenched tightly as anger consumed him. Then, storming out, he made his way to the dining room. Everyone rose as Jaden entered, their unease growing at his ominous presence. Midway through their usual meeting, Jaden seized Elelliana by the neck and hurled her across the room like a rag doll. She barely landed before he grabbed her again, lifting her into the air by her throat. Who gave you the right to disrespect my mate? To lay your hands on her? Look me in the eyes and answer, he growled. Fury surged as he half-shifted, claws digging deep into Elelliana's skin. Her screams trembled through the dining room, sending pack members cowering in fear. Please, Alpha, spare me. I won't ever disrespect her again, Elelliana begged. Godmother tried to intervene, but was thrown back by a fierce aura radiating from Jaden, crashing onto the dining table and scattering dinnerware everywhere. Please, Alpha, have mercy, Elelliana whimpered, her nails and toes turning gray. No one dared stop him, not even his beta. Jerome carried Katrina inside, wide-eyed at Jaden's terrifying demeanor. Katrina, his aura is so strong, no one can cross him except you, Jerome explained softly. Why is he like that? What do you want me to do? He frightens me. Don't be afraid. He won't hurt you. He's like this because you almost died when he wasn't here to protect you, Jerome assured her. But I'm alive, breathing fine, Katrina protested weakly, wincing from a headache and dizziness. They both know that, but you must understand, that's not Jaden standing there. It's his wolf. If Jaden loses control, his wolf kills indiscriminately, pack members or outsiders alike. Unlike Jaden, who only punishes, Jerome said grimly. If you don't do something fast, that girl will be dead. Jaden bared his teeth, ready to end Elelliana's life. Jaden, no! Don't! Katrina shouted, but he didn't seem to hear her. His sharp canines sank toward Elelliana's throat, then froze. Her scent filled his nostrils. Her tiny hands gripped him from behind, pleading. The yelping of his mate was a sweet melody that calmed his nerves. I'm still breathing, Jaden. Don't hurt her. Elelliana sobbed uncontrollably, trembling as Jaden's teeth hovered over her skin. His body softened, and he lowered Elelliana to the floor. He looked down at Katrina's hands clutching his waist, then back at Elelliana. From this moment forward, Elelliana Perez, you are no longer a member of this pack. You have until sunset to leave the pack's territories. This is your punishment. Katrina's point of view.
It felt like I was trapped in a weird, hazy dream, one I'd been having on and off these past 2 weeks. But the illusion shattered the moment Jerome patted me gently, snapping me back to reality. That's when I realized it wasn't a dream at all. The pounding in my head, the weakness in my limbs, it was all real. I blinked slowly, taking in my surroundings. I was in a hospital bed. Forgive me for this, but you need to come with me, Jerome said, his tone grim. Can you walk? I think so, I replied, shifting my legs off the bed. My feet touched the floor, but I was too weak to stand for long. Without another word, Jerome scooped me into his arms bridal style. I caught a glimpse of a female doctor nearby. She nodded subtly, and I instantly knew they'd mind-linked. Jerome, what's going on? I asked, heart pounding. Your mate is about to kill someone, he said without looking at me. Using his wolf speed, he sprinted us straight to the pack house. The blur of the wind and the awkwardness of being carried through the compound while pack members gawked at me made my face burn with embarrassment. As we reached the porch, I insisted he put me down. He did. I dragged myself behind him, my legs still trembling with every step. But as soon as we entered the house, a horrific sound stopped me cold. A raspy, choking wheeze, like someone struggling to breathe. Then I saw it. Jaden stood in the middle of the room, half-shifted, wild. His clothes were torn to shreds, and his claws were wrapped around a woman's neck. I staggered back in horror when I realized who she was. Elelliana, the same girl who had told me I wasn't welcome in this pack, that I could never be their Luna. Jaden's claws dug deep into her flesh. She was barely fighting anymore, her limbs weak and limp. His canines hovered near her throat, ready to end her life. I wanted to vomit. I couldn't stand there and watch the man I loved become a killer. Not for me. I didn't think. I just moved. I ran to him and threw my arms around him from behind, pressing myself into his tents, heaving back. "Jaden," I whispered, my voice trembling. "Please, stop." His body shuddered. And then, miraculously, he loosened his grip. Elelliana collapsed to the floor, gasping like a fish out of water. Her bruised, claw-marked neck was raw with pain. No one in the room moved to help her. No one even lifted their eyes. They just stared at the ground in silence. "She is no longer one of this pack," Jaden growled coldly. His godmother rushed forward and dragged Elelliana out of sight. Jaden turned to me then, his eyes softening. "Come on, baby. Let's get you back to the hospital." "You know how I feel about hospitals?" I muttered, trying to stay upright. "I'm perfectly—" A sharp pain stabbed the back of my skull mid-sentence, forcing a cry out of me. Jaden immediately lifted me again. Before I passed out, I caught a glimpse of his hard stare toward Jerome. "Find me that witch," he mind-linked, loud enough for me to hear. I wasn't sure if it was intentional, but it sent a chill down my spine. Jaden carried me upstairs and laid me gently on our unmade bed. He sat beside me, brushing a hand over my cheek. "I'm sorry, baby, for everything that happened to you." "It's not your fault," I said softly. "You had no reason to think this place wasn't safe. You've always been here for me. I know you did your best." As our fingers intertwined, I added, "I know what Elelliana did was wrong, but maybe you can forgive her." Jaden's jaw clenched. "I'm sorry, baby. I can't. She must have had her reasons to hate me." "Fuck her reasons." His voice cut sharply through the air. "I want her far away from you. If she comes near you again, I'll destroy her life myself." "Let's just end this conversation and rest," he muttered, visibly trying to calm himself. "Okay," I whispered, though my heart remained heavy. I woke to the golden hue of the evening sun spilling through the curtains. Jaden wasn't beside me. Throwing the covers off, I slowly stood and made my way toward the hallway. But before I could step out, a tall, shadowy figure appeared and marched toward me with purpose. In a blink, I was lifted, effortlessly, into his arms. He was towering, intimidating, but there was something soft in his gaze. "Did you just defend her?" he asked, voice low and guttural, in the same strange language the snake had once used. "All right then. I'll forgive her this time, because you defended her. But if she dares lay a hand on you again, I'll do worse than what your boyfriend did. If she dares even point at you, I'll make her regret it." He fell silent, staring at me with an intensity that chilled my spine. "Your mother raised you well, with love and a soft heart, but we won't be kind to anyone who steps on you." He smiled, gently set me down on the bed, and placed a hand on my head. Then he vanished. I jolted awake, drenched in sweat, my body trembling. Jaden immediately pulled me into a warm embrace. "It's all right, baby. I'm still here." Once the terror ebbed, I pulled back and told him about the dream. He said nothing, just stared at me, expression unreadable. "Why are you looking at me like that?" I asked, eyes narrowing. "It's like you know something." That's when I noticed something strange. My headache was gone. My body felt completely healed. I touched my temples, my arms, my legs. No pain. Am I dead? I pinched my cheek hard. Ouch. Still alive. Jaden cupped my shoulders gently. You need to calm down. I know what happened. I gave him a confused glare. What do you mean? I don't know if I should tell you this, he said, hesitating. Just tell me, Jaden. He exhaled. Your family. They told you about your guardians, right? Miss Olivier mentioned them, but not much. Well, the man you saw in your dream, that was one of them. He healed you. I frowned. But he didn't look old. I don't know all the details. They're secretive. Every time I tried to ask who they are, they shut me out. But I do know this. They're the ones who killed the people who hurt you, and they don't kill without reason. If someone dies, it's because they meant you harm. His words hit me like a wave. I stood up shaking. My knees buckled, and Jaden caught me. You okay? I need to talk to that girl, I said firmly. I want to know why she hated me. Elelliana, he asked cautiously. Don't stop me, Jaden. I need to handle this. Maybe they hate me because I'm human. Maybe because I'm black. Maybe I look unfriendly. But I won't know until I try to connect with them. If they're going to reject me, let it be to my face. That's enough, Katrina, Jaden snapped, his voice thunderous. I flinched, startled. They're all my people, he growled. I feed them, clothe them, shelter them, and no one has the right to decide who I take as my mate. I'll love whoever I damn well please, and I dare anyone to challenge me. His voice cracked with raw conviction, and tears welled up in my eyes. He reached over to wipe them before pressing a kiss to my lips, gentle at first, then deeper. When his hand slipped beneath my shirt, trailing to the edge of my thong, I melted under his touch. But the door burst open. I jerked back. Jerome stepped in, eyes darting between us. He cleared his throat awkwardly. Sorry. You could have mind-linked, Jaden gritted through clenched teeth. I did. You didn't answer. Jaden narrowed his eyes. What is it? Jerome's evasiveness didn't escape me, but before I could press him for answers, he slipped out, shutting the door behind him. Jaden turned to face me, his expression guarded. There's some work I need to take care of, he said. All right, I nodded, then added firmly, but please don't stop me from meeting with Elelliana and the rest of the pack. He exhaled deeply, rubbing a hand down his face, clearly torn. I won't stop you, he said at last, his voice low. But promise me you'll be careful. I will, I assured him. With a reluctant nod, Jaden headed for the door. But just as his hand touched the knob, he froze, stiff as stone. His eyes widened, locking onto something I couldn't see. Every muscle in his body tensed. Then, without warning, he collapsed. 1 second he was standing, the next he crumpled to the floor like a puppet whose strings had been severed. I stood frozen in horror, my heart thundering as I stared at Jaden's motionless body sprawled across the floor. Legs shaky, I rushed to his side and knelt beside him, gently shaking his body. Jaden? I whispered, my voice trembling. But he didn't move. He didn't blink. The stillness of his form shattered me. What's happening to us? Why does it feel like we're taking turns falling into some shadowy world of senselessness? I forced myself to breathe, to gather what little strength I had. Nothing is wrong, I told myself. He's going to be fine. This has nothing to do with me being cursed or unlucky. I won't panic. Not now. Not when he needs me. But even as I tried to be brave, tears slipped down my cheeks. Why did everyone who claimed to care for me make me feel like a walking disaster? Why couldn't they take this cursed label off my back? I wiped my face quickly. I should get Jerome, I realized, already blaming myself for not thinking of it sooner. I started to rise when a sudden grip on my hand made me freeze. I looked down. Jaden's eyes were open, staring up at me. There's no need to get Jerome, he murmured with a faint smile. I'm fine. But to me, that smile looked forced, fragile. as if he were trying to protect me from something. I opened my mouth to question him, but before I could, he tried to sit up, still holding my hand, and accidentally pulled me down on top of him. I landed hard, nudging him in the ribs. He let out a groan but quickly masked the pain. "You scared the hell out of me," I said, eyes wide with worry. "What happened? Are you okay?" "How could I not be, with this incredible view?" he teased. "Jaden, seriously?" I cried, my heart still racing from what just happened. "And here you are smiling like nothing's wrong." He grinned, the mischief twinkling in his eyes, now more genuine. "Now that I'm alive, don't push me away, all right? Because behind this smile is a whole list of wicked things I plan to do to that beautiful body of yours." His fingers began to trail across my skin, sending a tremor of heat and pleasure rushing through me. "Jaden," I jolted upright, backing away as he leaned in, clearly aiming for a kiss. "You're on thin ice. I mean, well, you seem fine now. I'm going to meet the girls." I stammered, fleeing the room with his soft chuckle trailing behind me. But I hadn't gotten far when the weight of what just happened came crashing back. I paused, heart pounding, then turned around and quietly returned to the room. I had to be sure. What if he fainted again? Clutching the doorknob, I forced myself not to fall apart. Jaden's warm gaze met mine. He was sitting up now, his expression gentle. "Baby, what's wrong?" "I'm sorry," I whispered, my voice cracking. "I just needed to make sure you were okay." He opened his arms. "Come here, baby. Come hold me." I did. "I'm not crying because I'm weak," I muttered into his chest. I was scared and confused. I didn't know what to do. He cupped my face in his hands, wiping my tears with his thumbs. "I'm sorry I scared you. Please don't cry, Katrina. It kills me when you cry. It makes me hate myself." "You still look pale," I said, studying him. "You don't look fine." He gave me a long, weary look, then leaned in and pressed his nose to my neck, inhaling deeply. When he pulled back, his eyes gleamed with a spark of life I hadn't seen earlier. "Trust me, baby. I'm more than fine now," he said with a real smile. "But I need to finish some alpha work before my beta storms in and kicks my ass." He kissed my forehead. "I love you, Katrina." "I love you too." After changing, we left the bedroom together, but soon parted ways. He to his office, and I to the third floor, where he told me I'd find Elelliana. As luck would have it, I bumped into my godmother along the way, carrying a bowl of pungent-smelling herbs. "Hello, Kate. How are you feeling?" she asked kindly. "I'm good, godmother. It's been a while since we talked." "It has," she agreed. "I'm looking for Elelliana. Do you know where she is?" Her expression turned hesitant. "Kate, I don't think that's a good idea. If the alpha finds out..." "I already spoke to Jaden. He knows I'm here," I interrupted. Surprisingly, she didn't press further. She simply nodded and led me to Elelliana's door. "Godmother, please, I want to be alone. I don't have much time," came Elelliana's voice, muffled and weak. I didn't answer. If I did, she'd lock the door, so I quietly pushed it open and stepped inside. Elelliana was packing, her back turned to me. "We need to talk," I said firmly. She spun around, her eyes wide, and full of hate. Her neck was swollen and slathered in herbal paste, the greenish salve making the injury look even worse. "Why did you do that to me?" I asked softly. "Why do you hate me so much?" She ignored me and went back to folding her clothes. "You're not going anywhere," I said. "You're staying here at the pack house." She whirled on me with sharp fury. "Do you want him to kill me? Is that it? Jaden knows I'm here." "Who do you think you are?" she spat, cutting me off. "Do you think you're a queen?" "Think what you want," I said calmly. "But it doesn't change the fact that I'm your alpha's mate. And as his mate, I want to know why you loathe me." She flung a dress aside and stalked toward me, eyes blazing. "I loathe you," she hissed, "so much that your mere presence makes me sick. Just looking at your filthy, murky face turns my stomach." I'd grown numb to hatred over the years, but it still stung, especially from someone I barely knew. I'd spent my whole life staying quiet, letting people talk down to me, insult me, curse me to my face. My mother always said to let it go, for their safety. And I had. But not anymore. Enough was enough. I straightened my spine. I did it for the woman I loved, my mom. But she's gone now, and I'm done being silent. From now on, I will stand for myself. I looked back at Elelliana. She had returned to her packing, head bowed. "Why does my presence make you sick?" I asked again, this time louder. "Why?" My voice rose without warning, words spilling out faster than I could think. "You like him, don't you? You like Jaden. Is that why you tried to push me out of the picture? So he'd make you his mate? Was Jaden the reason you killed Luciana? Do you think that ghost girl is on your side, pushing you to do things you shouldn't?" I stopped, my breath catching. What the hell did I just say? Elelliana slowly backed away and sank to the floor, staring up at me with wide, horrified eyes. How is it possible?" she whispered. Elelliana's transfixed stare unsettled me, her wide, haunted eyes making me feel like the villain in a scene I didn't script. What had I even said? Where on earth did Luciana come into this? "How is it possible?" she whispered, as though I'd just recited a prophecy. I'm so sorry," I stammered, voice barely audible over the chaos in my head. Fear, confusion, and shame all tangled inside me, choking every word. Then the door flew open. Sandra strode in, a plate of food in her hands, her sharp eyes darting between us. She placed the dish on the table, then zeroed in on me. "What the hell did you do to her this time?" she snapped, stepping between us protectively. "Did she hurt you again?" she barked at Elelliana. "Sandra, it's not what it looks like. Alpha's forgiven you for stepping out of the house," she cut in coldly, addressing Elelliana now. "But he made it clear, stay away from Katrina. You're banned from this wing. You'll eat in your room. No exceptions." She didn't wait for Elelliana's response. Sandra grabbed my hand and led me out. As the elevator descended, I turned to her. "Did Jaden really forgive her?" She nodded. He mind-linked me earlier." A breath I didn't know I was holding escaped me. "That's good." Sandra's brows shot up. "You think it's good? After she nearly killed you?" "Don't judge me," I replied quietly. "I have my reasons." She frowned, falling silent for a moment before chuckling under her breath. "You know, I nearly died from joy when I heard Alpha almost snapped her neck. I was this close to throwing a party when I thought she was leaving for good." I turned to her, startled. "Sandra, don't judge me either," she said with a half snort. "I have my reasons too. One of them, I don't like her." I sighed. "Okay, let's leave the Elelliana chapter closed. I need to talk to Jaden." "Too late. He's out?" "It's getting dark. Where did he go?" Sandra shrugged. "How should I know?" Lately, Jaden barely rested or joined the others for meals. He was always on the move, with his beta, his delta, or his warriors. I sensed it. Something was coming. Something big. Every corner of the estate echoed with the grunts and growls of warriors in brutal training. Even outside, new construction had begun. Dormitories, they said, and more unfamiliar faces had joined the pack, their presence shifting the energy of the house. I wandered back to our room, changed, and got ready to visit Miss Olivier with my brother. She'd been unusually persistent about seeing me. On my way down, I caught a glimpse of Pamela laughing with some pack members. She looked so at ease, so effortlessly part of the pack. I envied that. Whenever I tried, I was met with cold stares or awkward silence. I stopped trying altogether. As I neared the elevator, Pamela called out my name with a bright wave. I smiled and waved back. It helped. A little. I changed into a long-sleeved wrap dress and met Sandra downstairs. She wore tight jeans and a floaty blouse, standing next to a burly man I'd come to know as Evan, my quiet, ever-present shadow. Jaden had appointed him to watch over me whenever he was away. We climbed into the car and hit the road. The moment we crossed into Gabriel's territory, my chest tightened. A dull, inexplicable ache bloomed in my heart. I tried to ignore it, but it pulsed louder with each passing mile. "Breathe, Katrina. You're here to see your brother. That's all." I turned to Sandra. "Please, don't start anything with Gabriel's people like last time." She gave me a raised brow. "How can I not when they treat you like you're not Luna?" I shot her a warning glare. "Don't. Just don't." She rolled her eyes. "Fine, but at least let me say hi to your grandmother." "See!" As we approached the mansion, I froze mid-step. My breath caught. Gabriel stood outside, holding a toddler. He was smiling, actually smiling, and peppering the child's cheeks with kisses as it giggled in delight. Standing beside him was an older woman I couldn't quite see. He looked different. Leaner? His signature man bun was gone, replaced with a close buzz cut. He didn't look like the Gabriel I remembered. When our eyes met, his gaze slid over me like I was just another passing face. That hollow recognition stung deeper than I expected. My brother dashed toward me, throwing himself into my arms. "You're so heavy," I laughed, lifting him before setting him down. "What are they feeding you?" "I missed you so much, big sister." He was glowing, happier than I'd ever seen him. That alone made the ache in my chest worth it. He tugged my hand, eager to show me off to his new friends, but Miss Olivier stopped him gently. "Tomorrow," she told him, "your sister's staying the night." His pout melted into a grin. As he ran off, I whispered, "Thank you, Jaden," under my breath. Without him, none of this would have been possible. Miss Olivier sat me down in her room, her face unreadable. "You're scaring me," I said. "Is something wrong?" She didn't waste time. "Is it really over between you and Gabriel?" My chest tightened. "Why are we talking about him now?" "Because I believe you're what he needs." "Please don't." "I can't stay quiet. He's been so kind to me. And your brother." "But something's wrong. He's barely left his quarters. He hasn't eaten since his mother and brother arrived." I blinked. Wait. The Gabriel I saw outside, that was him? "You saw him?" she asked, surprised. I did, but when he looked at me, it was like I was a stranger. Miss Olivier frowned. "His mother gives off a bad feeling. There's something off about her. Cold, unbothered by how much he resents her." "Where's his room?" I asked, cutting her off. I didn't want to hear more. That dull ache was back, sharp now. Her eyebrows rose. "You were his girlfriend. You've been here before, and you never knew." Somehow, I didn't. Miss Olivier led me out of her room, guiding me down a quiet corridor that bypassed the main elevator. We entered a longer hallway, dimly lit, leading to a smaller elevator tucked away behind a gilded arch. She pressed the call button, then turned to me. "This elevator is restricted. It only responds to his quarters." I stepped in. She didn't follow. The doors slid shut, and the ride up felt eerily silent, like the elevator was holding its breath. Within seconds, it came to a halt. The doors opened automatically with a soft hiss. And then, his scent hit me. Rich, dark, and wild, it wrapped around my senses, seeping into my bones. My knees almost buckled from the familiar ache it stirred inside me. That scent used to feel like home. Now it was laced with something feral. I stepped out, slow and cautious, drawn toward a pair of towering twin doors at the end of the corridor. My hand trembled as I raised it and knocked. Once, twice, 3, 4 times. No answer. A chill crept up my spine. I pushed the door open. Before I could utter a word, I was yanked clean off the floor, lifted into the air with terrifying force. His hand clamped around my neck, slamming my back against the wall. "I said I didn't want to be disturbed," Gabriel roared, his voice inhuman, raw and guttural, like it scraped its way from the pit of something monstrous. My breath caught in my throat. His eyes blazed with something dark and unrecognizable. His face was drawn, his features shadowed, as if corrupted from the inside. The air around him reeked, not just of sweat or rage, but something older, fouler. "It's me! Gabriel!" I gasped, clawing for air. My fingers gripped his wrist. "It's me, Katrina." For a second, nothing changed. His pupils were blown wide, the whites of his eyes barely visible. But then, something shifted. Recognition. He blinked once, twice. His hand relaxed, though it didn't let me go. Instead, he drew me in, roughly, desperately, crushing me to his chest in a trembling embrace. My feet dangled, my heart racing in sync with his ragged breaths. "It's me," I whispered again, softer this time, as tears burned the corners of my eyes. "Your pumpkin." And just like that, he buried his face in my neck. Broken, lost, and holding on like I was the only thing keeping him from falling apart.
Gabriel's point of view.
My mother's sudden appearance had ripped something open inside me. Her face, her voice, brought with it a torrent of agony I'd buried long ago. It destroyed me. I abandoned my duties as alpha. I couldn't function, couldn't think straight. How did she find me? Why did my pack let her in? Did she manipulate them the same way she deceived my father, with false affection and sweet poison? Where had she gotten the audacity to show up at my house, after all these years, after all the pain she caused, the torture I endured? Did she really think I would welcome her back with open arms? A sharp knock at the door yanked me out of my spiral. My eyes stayed fixed on the entrance, suspicion curling in my gut. Was it one of her allies? Another person comes to twist the knife? Even my pack seemed to be turning against me. How else could she have gotten past them? The knock came again, harder this time, relentless. I clenched my jaw, furious. I stormed across the room, teeth gritted, and yanked the door open. Before I could register who stood there, my hand shot out. I grabbed the intruder by the neck, lifting them off the floor with the fury of a beast unleashed. My wolf pushed into my mind. "You need to calm down. It's our mate." I resisted, convinced he was trying to pacify me. "She's the only one who can break through to us, and he knew it." "You're going to kill your mate," he shouted again. Then I heard her voice, choked and barely above a whisper. "Calm down, Gabriel. It's me, Katrina." My mind snapped into clarity. My blurred vision cleared just enough to see her face, red, tear-streaked, frightened. "It's me," she gasped again. "Your pumpkin." A tidal wave of guilt crashed over me. I was choking her. I was choking her, my own mate. I immediately loosened my grip, slid my arm behind her back, and pulled her into my chest. She wrapped her arms around me without hesitation, stroking my back, slowly, grounding me. I pressed my face into the crook of her neck and inhaled her scent deeply, sweet, comforting, like coming up for air after drowning. I finally stepped back and looked at her. "What are you doing here?" I asked, then scoffed bitterly. "Why am I even asking? Your family lives here." She flinched a little at that, eyes welling up with something between sorrow and determination. "Have you really been living like this?" she asked softly. "Hiding in a dark room like some criminal?" Miss Olivier told me everything. My heart twisted. "Did you come because your grandmother told you to? Or because you actually care?" I asked, not even sure which answer would hurt more. She hesitated, but then her voice rang clear. "I do care, regardless." I felt like I could breathe again. Without another word, I pulled her into a tighter embrace, pressing her against me like she was the only thing holding me together. "It feels so good to have you here," I murmured. "I've got you, pumpkin. You make me feel alive again." "I can't breathe," she squeaked. I jumped back immediately. "Did I hurt you?" I asked, alarmed. She shook her head. "No." She brushed past me, walking straight to the window. She flung the curtains open, flooding the room with harsh daylight. I squinted, shielding my eyes from the sudden glare. "It's unhealthy to keep yourself in the dark," she said. Then she turned and froze. "You look like hell," she muttered, "like you're possessed by ancient spirits." I didn't respond. I couldn't. What could I possibly say to that? Silence stretched between us. Finally, she spoke, voice gentle but careful. Miss Olivier told me about your family, but I also saw your brother on the lawn. When our eyes met, it felt strange. Then she told me the whole story. And Gabriel, I do care for you. My chest warmed. She could have walked away. Should have, maybe. But she didn't. I'm going to cut the bullshit, she said suddenly, voice firm. My heart skipped a beat. She didn't call me Mr. Gabriel, just Gabriel. I want us to talk. A real talk. But first, you need to shave and shower. That look, it's scaring me. I'll get you something to eat while you clean up. Pumpkin, that's not neck. You're not in a position to argue, she interrupted. For the next few hours, I'm borrowing your alpha title, and if you're too weak to wash, I'll help. I'm thrilled by the idea, I said with a teasing wink. I turned toward the bathroom. But the world spun. My knees gave out. I staggered and collapsed. My ears rang. My vision dimmed. Katrina dropped beside me, frantic. I could see her mouth moving, but I couldn't hear her. You deserve this, you ungrateful human. This is what you get for starving us. My wolf was furious. I've been holding us together. If I hadn't, we'd be dead. And Katrina would have ended up with Jaden. Think about that. Shut the fuck up, I growled aloud, trying to block him out. Katrina flinched, startled. No, not you, I rasped. I wasn't yelling at you. She stared at me for a moment, then said gently, Stay right here. I'm getting you something. You're dehydrated. She disappeared. I unblocked my wolf. I'm sorry, I told him. You always dump your anger on me. But I get it. I forgive you. You need a deep clean, though. You smell like death. Way to make me feel better, I muttered. Pumpkin wants answers, I said. She needs to know why I pulled away. Then tell her, all of it. If she's still here after everything, she deserves the truth. You've always had my back, I told him, and for that I'm grateful. A moment later, Katrina returned, this time with a pack member carrying a platter of food. He bowed, smiling at her. It's my pleasure, Luna, he said, then bowed to me before leaving. You brought all this for me? I asked. Of course. Am I dying? I joked. This looks like a final meal. She rolled her eyes and swatted my stomach. Don't joke about that. Just eat, then shower. Yes, ma'am. I started with the grape juice, my favorite, then ate what I could. After cleaning up, I came out to find the room spotless. She was making the bed, her movements graceful and calm. I walked over, caught her by the waist, and gently sat her on my lap. You smell amazing, I murmured, holding her close. Pumpkin, I want you to know, my feelings for you never changed. Not once. I just got lost in my past when I heard your story. Her expression softened. That woman, I continued, she's not my mother. She's my stepmother. I inherited certain abilities from my real mother's bloodline. Sense, visions, and intuition. When I was 7, I saw my stepmother cheating with another man in my father's bed. She was pregnant with my brother. Katrina tensed, listening intently. I told my father. That night they argued. He left in the rain. I used my gift to track his footprints. And I found him being beheaded by that man. My mother's sudden appearance had ripped something open inside me. Her face, her voice, brought with it a torrent of agony I'd buried long ago. It destroyed me. I abandoned my duties as alpha. I couldn't function, couldn't think straight. How did she find me? Why did my pack let her in? Did she manipulate them the same way she deceived my father, with false affection and sweet poison? Where had she gotten the audacity to show up at my house? After all these years, after all the pain she caused, the torture I endured. Did she really think I would welcome her back with open arms? A sharp knock at the door yanked me out of my spiral. My eyes stayed fixed on the entrance, suspicion curling in my gut. Was it one of her allies? Another person comes to twist the knife? Even my pack seemed to be turning against me. How else could she have gotten past them? The knock came again, harder this time, relentless. I clenched my jaw, furious. I stormed across the room, teeth gritted, and yanked the door open. Before I could register who stood there, my hand shot out. I grabbed the intruder by the neck, lifting them off the floor with the fury of a beast unleashed. My wolf pushed into my mind. You need to calm down. It's our mate. I resisted, convinced he was trying to pacify me. She's the only one who can break through to us, and he knew it. You're going to kill your mate, he shouted again. Then I heard her voice, choked and barely above a whisper. Calm down, Gabriel. It's me, Katrina. My mind snapped into clarity. My blurred vision cleared just enough to see her face. Red, tear-streaked, frightened. "It's me," she gasped again. "Your pumpkin." A tidal wave of guilt crashed over me. I was choking her. My own mate. I immediately loosened my grip, slid my arm behind her back, and pulled her into my chest. She wrapped her arms around me without hesitation, stroking my back, slowly, grounding me. I pressed my face into the crook of her neck and inhaled her scent deeply, sweet, comforting, like coming up for air after drowning. I finally stepped back and looked at her. "What are you doing here?" I asked, then scoffed bitterly. "Why am I even asking? Your family lives here." She flinched a little at that, eyes welling up with something between sorrow and determination. "Have you really been living like this?" she asked softly. "Hiding in a dark room like some criminal? Miss Olivier told me everything." My heart twisted. "Did you come because your grandmother told you to? Or because you actually care?" I asked, not even sure which answer would hurt more. She hesitated, but then her voice rang clear. "I do care, regardless." I felt like I could breathe again. Without another word, I pulled her into a tighter embrace, pressing her against me like she was the only thing holding me together. "It feels so good to have you here," I murmured. "I've got you, Pumpkin. You make me feel alive again." "I can't breathe," she squeaked. I jumped back immediately. "Did I hurt you?" I asked, alarmed. She shook her head. "No." She brushed past me, walking straight to the window. She flung the curtains open, flooding the room with harsh daylight. I squinted, shielding my eyes from the sudden glare. "It's unhealthy to keep yourself in the dark," she said. Then she turned and froze. "You look like hell," she muttered, "like you're possessed by ancient spirits." I didn't respond. I couldn't. What could I possibly say to that? Silence stretched between us. Finally, she spoke, voice gentle but careful. "Miss Olivier told me about your family, but I also saw your brother on the lawn. When our eyes met, it felt strange. Then she told me the whole story. And Gabriel, I do care for you." My chest warmed. She could have walked away. Should have, maybe. But she didn't. "I'm going to cut the bullshit," she said suddenly, voice firm. My heart skipped a beat. She didn't call me Mr. Gabriel. Just Gabriel. "I want us to talk. A real talk. But first, you need to shave and shower. That look, it's scaring me. I'll get you something to eat while you clean up." "Pumpkin, that's not neck." "You're not in a position to argue," she interrupted. "For the next few hours, I'm borrowing your alpha title, and if you're too weak to wash, I'll help." "I'm thrilled by the idea," I said with a teasing wink. I turned toward the bathroom. But the world spun. My knees gave out. I staggered and collapsed. My ears rang. My vision dimmed. Katrina dropped beside me, frantic. I could see her mouth moving, but I couldn't hear her. "You deserve this, you ungrateful human. This is what you get for starving us." My wolf was furious. "I've been holding us together. If I hadn't, we'd be dead. And Katrina would have ended up with Jaden. Think about that." "Shut the fuck up," I growled aloud, trying to block him out. Katrina flinched, startled. No, not you," I rasped. "I wasn't yelling at you." She stared at me for a moment, then said gently, "Stay right here. I'm getting you something. You're dehydrated." She disappeared. I unblocked my wolf. "I'm sorry," I told him. "You always dump your anger on me. But I get it. I forgive you. You need a deep clean, though. You smell like death." "Way to make me feel better," I muttered. "Pumpkin wants answers," I said. "She needs to know why I pulled away. Then tell her, all of it. If she's still here after everything, she deserves the truth." "You've always had my back," I told him, "and for that I'm grateful." A moment later, Katrina returned, this time with a pack member carrying a platter of food. He bowed, smiling at her. "It's my pleasure, Luna," he said, then bowed to me before leaving. "You brought all this for me?" I asked. "Of course." "Am I dying?" I joked. "This looks like a final meal." She rolled her eyes and swatted my stomach. "Don't joke about that. Just eat, then shower." "Yes, ma'am." I started with the grape juice, my favorite, then ate what I could. After cleaning up, I came out to find the room spotless. She was making the bed, her movements graceful and calm. I walked over, caught her by the waist, and gently sat her on my lap. "You smell amazing," I murmured, holding her close. "Pumpkin, I want you to know, My feelings for you never changed. Not once. I just got lost in my past when I heard your story. Her expression softened. That woman, I continued, she's not my mother. She's my stepmother. I inherited certain abilities from my real mother's bloodline. Sense, visions, and intuition. When I was 7, I saw my stepmother cheating with another man in my father's bed. She was pregnant with my brother. Katrina tensed, listening intently. I told my father. That night they argued. He left in the rain. I used my gift to track his footprints. And I found him being beheaded by that man. I was just a kid. Tears burned my eyes. From that night on, my life was hell. That woman tortured me for years, tried to kill me more times than I can count. And now I'm Alpha. And I'm still hiding in the dark, terrified of her shadow. I choked, the shame nearly overwhelming me. But then Katrina leaned in and kissed me. Soft, gentle, full of tears. She cradled my face in her hands. You don't have to be afraid, she whispered, because I'm here. You have me.
Katrina's point of view.
My heart was pounding, ready to shatter into pieces as I leaned in and kissed him, my tears mixing with our shared breath. You don't have to be afraid, I whispered, because I'm here. You have me. I took his hand, pressing it to my heart. You're not that broken, hopeless boy anymore. You're a man now, a strong alpha, the kind people fear and follow. This is your kingdom, Gabriel, so stand tall and show them how a true king rules. Those who hurt us never cared how we felt, so it's up to us to rise, to heal. Yes, painfully, but stronger. She had the right to break you once, in the past. But the past doesn't rule now. I do. We do. I reached up and brushed my fingers across his cheek, grounding him, and myself. So promise me you won't run from your responsibilities because of her. If that's what you want, he murmured, eyes locked on mine. It is. But don't just do it for me. Do it for yourself. That's the only way you'll silence that fear still living in you. He nodded slowly, a breath escaping his lips. I'll do as you said, but... He cupped my cheek, his voice dipping low. Where do we stand now? Because I can't let you go. You're not just my mate. In 34 years, I've never felt this way for any woman. His words struck me deep. My heart clenched. I knew what I wanted, but part of me still felt bound to Jaden. I had given him my word, but the pull toward Gabriel? It was undeniable, magnetic, overwhelming. And I gave in again. I kissed him. Soft at first, then with all the fire that had been building inside me. He didn't hesitate. His arms slid around me, drawing me in as we shared a long, hungry kiss. Our lips danced, then deepened, our tongues tangling like they'd known each other forever. He laid me gently on the bed, not once breaking our kiss. His weight above me, the pressure of our bodies through thin layers of clothing. It lit something electric inside me. Heat bloomed under my skin as he moved to my neck, trailing kisses down to my cleavage. His hands found my legs, stroking up and down, sending waves of pleasure straight to my core. I could feel him growing hard, and my body responded with wet, aching need. I tugged at his shirt, unbuttoning it quickly and running my hands over his bare torso. His low groan of pleasure made my breath catch. I reached his waistband, loosening the drawstring. He slipped off me, knelt between my spread thighs, and pulled down his pants, revealing his thick, hard cock, its tip glistening with pre-cum. My breath hitched. I wanted him. I needed to feel him deep inside me. In one smooth motion, he flipped me on top of him and helped me out of my dress and bra. My breasts spilled free, his eyes devouring me. His hands covered them, thumbs teasing my nipples until they hardened. Then he flipped us again, his weight pressing me into the mattress. I'm never letting you go, he whispered, lips brushing my ear. You're everything I breathe. I grabbed the back of his head and kissed him again hard as his hand slid down my body. When his fingers slipped beneath my thong and touched my clit, I writhed beneath him, heat exploding through me. And then a knock. We both froze. Sss. You've got to be fucking kidding me, Gabriel growled, breathless. Another knock. Who the hell? Then came my brother's voice. Big sister? Are you really in there? Oh God, I'm dead. Gabriel buried his face in my neck with a frustrated groan. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to. Grandmother said you were inside, but you're not answering. Did you lie to me, Grandma? He yelled, his voice cracking. I could hear Miss Olivier trying to soothe him. Gabriel's hand was still inside my underwear, his breath still hot on my skin, making it impossible to calm down. Gabriel, please get off me before he comes in. I'm sorry, I gasped, yanking my dress back on. No time to find my bra. Put your clothes on and leave the room, please, I begged. I will, pumpkin, he said, voice hoarse. I opened the door to find Miss Olivier leading my teary-eyed brother toward the elevator. Baby, I called. He turned, face lighting up with a smile as he ran into my arms. Are you crying? I asked softly. I thought you left when you said you'd spend the night with us, he sniffled. I didn't leave without saying goodbye, did I? I asked gently. He shook his head. No, you didn't. I just had some work to do, I said, stroking his hair. Okay, big sister. I'm sorry if I acted spoiled. It's okay, baby. He intertwined his fingers with mine, and we stepped into the elevator. How is he, child? Miss Olivier asked. He's in good shape now, I replied, blinking back tears. Fate? I couldn't help but wonder, was this fate? That both men I love have suffered such similar, painful pasts? My brother kissed my hand. I love you so much, big sister. I love you too, baby. I leaned down and kissed both his cheeks. He was my strength. There was a time I thought of ending it all, but the fear of leaving him alone gave me a reason to fight on. Adrien led me into a huge hall filled with color, paintings on the walls, art, stuffed animals, books, toys. It was a place that made your heart ache for children. My children. They would have loved this. Suddenly, I was knocked down by excited kids. Luna, Luna, they squealed, piling on me. OMG, you're going to hurt her, a woman yelled. The kids scattered quickly, leaving me gasping. I'm so sorry, Luna, the woman said, eyes wide. Are you all right? I'm fine. They just surprised me, I said, smiling breathlessly. You are welcome, Luna, she and the others said, bowing slightly. Why would Gabriel call me that? I wasn't there, Luna. Please, just be casual with me, I said with a nervous laugh. The kids returned to their games, and the women invited me to join them. I hesitated until one gently took my hand and led me over. They were kind, warm, nothing like Jaden's people. For the first time, I felt like I truly belonged somewhere. Later, as the women took the children to dinner, including Adrien, I decided to check on Gabriel. As I walked through the halls, I saw his brother being dragged into a room by their mother. He looked furious. She looked worse. I didn't want to eavesdrop, but my feet took me there anyway. I leaned close, straining to hear. I hate him too, Gabriel's brother snapped. But killing him, that's too much. I froze. Killing him? Who? Their mother's voice was ice. We talked about this. I won't argue again. Fine, he said bitterly. Do what you want. But count me out. I'm going back with my daughter. She laughed coldly. You know what I'll do if you leave. He fell silent. Don't feel guilty, he's your brother. But I'll be the one to do it. I'll make sure it's a painless death. Terror surged through me. Gabriel? Were they planning to kill him? I turned to run and tell him, but my legs buckled beneath me. My vision blurred. My body felt heavy. A voice echoed behind me. This is his destiny. It's not your place to interfere. I looked up and saw the same old man from my dreams. I tried to run, but couldn't move. Don't be afraid, he said softly. I can't hurt you. Who are you? How did you get in here? I demanded. He didn't answer, just knelt in front of me, calm and cryptic. This man has to die. You cannot stop it. You're annoying me with your bullshit, I snapped. Who the hell are you to talk about destiny? You think you're God? If you interfere and stop his death, destiny will turn on you. And when it does, both men, Jade and Gabriel, will forget you ever existed. I swallowed hard. I don't care. I'm his mate. And as his mate, I'll stop this. Watch me. He paused, then gave one final warning. You want to save him? Fine. But think carefully. Are you ready to lose the child you're carrying? I jolted awake with a loud gasp, sweat coating my face. The cold marble floor bit into my skin as I lay sprawled where I'd collapsed earlier. No one heard my fall? It didn't matter. That wasn't the problem right now. Forcing strength into my numb legs, I dragged myself to the elevator and headed to Gabriel's room. Empty. Where the hell could he be? This house was a labyrinth. Multiple wings, countless corridors. I didn't even know who his beta was to ask for help. All I knew was that betas were usually the alpha's right hand. But me? I was clueless and desperate. And then those two voices returned, echoing in my head like a curse. I couldn't silence. This man has to die, and you can't stop it. It's his destiny. Are you ready to lose the child growing in your womb? Their words froze me mid-step. I shoved them out of my mind. No, I wouldn't accept that. I'd protect Gabriel, whatever it took. He didn't deserve to die, not like that. Not by asterisk or asterisk hand. How was I supposed to just sit back and do nothing while his stepmother plotted his death? I wouldn't, that's not who I am. As I wandered through the hallways, still searching, my gaze suddenly locked on the last person I wanted to see. Her asterisk, Gabriel's stepmother. Her cold, polished eyes met mine like we were two predators circling each other. If rage could kill, she'd be nothing but ashes. Is there something you want to say to me? She asked, voice clipped and polite. Yes, I snapped, my mouth already opening to expose everything. But before I could speak, a stabbing pain sliced through my lower abdomen, yanking a cry out of me as I collapsed to my knees. She froze, alarmed. Are you all right? Don't come near me, I rasped, holding out a trembling hand to stop her. Her face shifted into confusion, uncertainty. Just then, Miss Olivier appeared, rushing to my side. What happened, child? She asked, helping me up. I'll explain. Just not here. She nodded, guiding me away. Inside her room, I told her everything, from the very first dream to the conversation I thought I'd imagined just minutes ago. I even told her about the stepmother's deadly scheme. I knew something was wrong with that woman, Miss Olivier muttered, but when I told her about the strange man's warnings, she grew quiet. What is it? I asked. They're important, those voices, she said. They're part of you. They don't appear unless it's vital. And when it's you, they always come with wrath. I laughed bitterly. Their wrath means nothing to me. Everyone calls them my protectors, my angels. But where were they when I was rejected? When did my mother die? When I bled and screamed and broke? Tears burned my eyes. If they wanted me safe, why didn't they protect me when it mattered? Why now? Why do they want me to let him die? They're real, Miss Olivier said firmly, and the only way to know for sure is to take a pregnancy test. I blinked. Then I laughed again. You're joking, right? I'm not pregnant. I miscarried over a month ago. You can get pregnant again after 2 weeks, she said gently. Just take the test. But don't tell Gabriel anything yet, not until we know for sure. But what if we wait too long? I whispered. What if his stepmother acts and he dies? And I'm not even pregnant. I'll live with that guilt forever. She cupped my face. Nothing will happen to him. Trust me, child. I'll go check on Gabriel myself. Just take the test. I nodded slowly and went to find Sandra. I found her sipping coffee in the kitchen, watching something on her phone. She paused it when she saw me. Sandra, I need your help. Of course. I need a pregnancy test. Now. Her eyes widened. OMG, Katrina, are you? Don't jump to conclusions. I'm sure I'm not. I just need proof. All right, sit tight. I'll be quick. True to her word, Sandra returned in under 20 minutes, holding not one but 2 pregnancy kits. Brought a spare, she said with a wink. I took them back to Miss Olivier's room. She dozed off and headed to the bathroom. I followed the instructions, set the timer, and sat on the toilet, heart pounding. 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. There's no way I'm pregnant. Right? But what if I am? Could I survive another pregnancy after the loss I'd endured? My hands shook. The timer buzzed, jarring me. I flinched and threw my phone across the floor. Katrina, child, is that you? Miss Olivier's drowsy voice called. Yes, I managed. Sorry for waking you. She fell silent again. I rose on unsteady legs, walked to the sink, and flipped over the stick with trembling fingers. Pregnant. 3+ weeks. My knees gave out. I hit the ground hard, knocking over bottles and towels. The door swung open, and Miss Olivier rushed in. I'm doomed, I whispered, voice cracking. I'm terrified, Miss Olivier. What should I do? She dropped to her knees beside me as I showed her the result. That man was telling the truth. If I warn Gabriel, he dies. If I don't, I could lose this child. I can't go through that pain again. I just can't. And if this baby is his, how will I face them someday and admit I let their father die? Miss Olivier took my face in her hands. There is a way to save them both, but it comes with a price. What price? You'll have to leave Gabriel for good. It's the only way. What? I whispered. If I intervene to change his destiny, it will protect you and the child, but in exchange, you must stay out of his life. No contact, no return. Your brother and I will go with you. It's the only way. I stared at her. Were you talking to him when I came in? That old man? She nodded silently. They felt your pain, she said. All of it. And this is their way of making it right. But the choice is yours. Decide quickly. We need to leave before sunrise. I wiped my tears, my heart shattering. If staying out of his life means he lives, then I'll do it. All right, child, she stood slowly. I'll get Adrien and pack up. I'll tell Gabriel myself. She left and I curled into myself, sobbing quietly. I couldn't even imagine how much this would hurt him, but I had to bury my pain. My emotions couldn't be the reason he died. By dawn, the car was packed. Evan helped load the trunk, while Miss Olivier, Sandra, Adrien, and I climbed in. No one asked questions, not even my brother, though he clearly wasn't happy. He loved it there, and he didn't understand why we were leaving so suddenly. When we arrived at the pack house, the guards waved us through without issue. I'm a little thirsty, I said. I'll grab water and join you. Take your time, Sandra replied gently, guiding the others toward the guest room. I poured a glass of water at the kitchen island and drank in silence, guilt slamming into me with every breath. Gabriel must know by now. He must be hurting. I left him. No kisses, no goodbye, no thank you. I'm the worst mate ever. And just as I turned to leave, a sharp shove from behind slammed my belly into the edge of the marble island. Pain exploded in my abdomen. I gasped. A whisper followed. I will never let you give birth to his child.
Jaden's point of view.
I ran deeper into the woods, the cold air biting at my skin as I tried to outrun the storm in my head. My brother's threats echoed through me like poison, eating away at my sanity. He hadn't shown his face yet, but the venom in his voice during our calls was enough to know he was near, lurking somewhere in Vancouver. Somewhere close to my pack. My home. I'd searched every border, every allied territory, and still nothing. He was playing a game, a sick one, hide and seek with lives hanging in the balance. I shifted into human form, panting, dragging a hand through my hair in frustration. I was done. Done with wars, done with betrayal. I wanted peace, a quiet life with my mate. Just us. No pack politics, no looming enemies. No fear every time she stepped out of the house. No more wondering what she and Gabe might be doing when she went to visit family. Was that too much to ask? My thoughts were interrupted by a soft whimper. "Whoever you are, show yourself," I warned, my voice low but lethal. The whimper grew louder. A woman. She didn't respond, so I followed the sound. Curled in the leaves, naked and bleeding, was a woman clawing at her skin, leaving deep red trails behind. "She's transitioning," my wolf said. I knelt. She flinched, terrified, throwing herself against a pile of twigs. "I'm going crazy," she sobbed, voice raw. "Everything hurts, my bones, my skin. I can't stop scratching. Am I dying?" "No," I said firmly, crouching beside her. "You're not dying." She recoiled as I reached out. "Stay away from me," she screamed, slapping my hand aside. I grabbed her shoulders, forcing her to look at me. "Listen, you were attacked by a wolf, right?" Her wide, bloodshot eyes locked on mine. "How did you know?" I sighed. Of course. She'd been bitten by a werewolf. The very reason I'd created a support system for bitten humans, to guide them through the painful transformation into our kind. "You weren't attacked by a regular wolf. It was a werewolf," I said. "You're transforming. The pain will pass. I swear it." She stared, confused and scared. "There are others like you. You're not alone. Come with me. I'll take you home. I'll help you." I hesitated to shift in front of her, but it was the fastest way back. I transformed, and she fainted. I shifted back, scooped her up, and shifted again. Running through the trees with her on my back. When I reached the pack house, my guards were waiting. They wrapped her in a blanket and took her inside for treatment. I shifted back to human, raking my wet hair out of my eyes. I took the front door. No kid should see an alpha naked, even in a pack like ours. I froze when I reached the end of the foyer. Katrina's grandmother, her brother, Sandra, Aaliyah and her twin, all standing there. The old woman gasped and covered the boy's eyes. "Good Lord, have mercy!" I blinked, startled. When did they get here? Where was Katrina? Did she stay back with Gabriel? The thought made my jaw clench. "Go put on some damn pants," my wolf snapped. I ran upstairs, dressed fast, and came back down. The boy was gone, probably in bed. "Why are you all still up?" I asked, frowning. Before anyone answered, Evan burst through the door, out of breath. Katrina's grandmother rushed to him. "How is she? Is the baby okay?" My heart stopped. "The baby?" I echoed. "They're fine," Evan said. "She didn't lose the baby." Relief flooded the old woman as she looked up at the sky. "Thank you, Heavenly Father." I stared at them, stunned. "Someone tell me what the hell is going on." Evan bowed. "Forgive me, Alpha. A student attacked Lady Katrina from behind. She fell against the kitchen island, her stomach." I stopped breathing. "Katrina, the baby. She's pregnant?" The grandmother turned to me, her voice soft. "We just found out. She's 3 weeks along." I was already gone, running faster than I ever had. At the hospital, I barreled through the entrance, knocking a nurse sideways. Vanessa and Pamela were talking, but I didn't stop. I flung open the door to her room. And there she was, my mate, lying in a small bed, pale with 2 IVs in her hands. Her breathing was steady, but seeing her like that broke something inside me. Why does she have to suffer like this? Why does she have to live in fear, in my asterisk house? I sat beside her and took her hand gently. Her skin was warm. I pressed a kiss to it and held it to my chest, cold sweat breaking down my spine. I failed her. I failed again. But I swear I'll make it right. She stirred. "Jayden," she whispered, her voice hoarse. I sat up, heart racing. "I'm here, baby." Her eyes welled up. Did I lose the baby? I cupped her face. No, you didn't. The baby's fine. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Thank God. I thought I did. You don't know how terrified I was when I slammed into that island. She broke down, sobbing. Then she looked up at me. Why do your people hate me so much? Her words cut deeper than any blade. This isn't about them, I said softly. It's me. I'm the one with the problem. I thought I was healed, but that old man's return was just an illusion. I've failed you. She looked so small, so broken. My beautiful mate. I hated myself more than ever. My brother was out there, a threat I hadn't anticipated, another danger I couldn't allow to touch her. Not after Alfredo. I wrapped her in my arms, brushing her back gently. I looked into her tear-streaked face. Don't cry, I whispered. This ends now. I failed you once. Never again. I'm taking you, the baby, and your family somewhere safe. Somewhere no one, not even my pack, can reach you. Her lips trembled. No more nightmares, Katrina. Just us, you and me, our child. Safe. Katrina pulled away from me gently, lifting her eyes with a faint smile. That's not a bad idea, she said, but I'm not going anywhere. I can't keep running like I'm some kind of criminal. It's exhausting. And my brother, he's still struggling with being uprooted to a place he's barely even seen. I'm still sensitive about his health. I exhaled slowly, trying to balance logic with the weight of my heart. I know how much you care about your brother, just as much as I care about you, him, and your grandmother. But I've already made up my mind, baby. I can't risk it anymore. Your safety is everything to me. And so is my brother's, she said firmly, her gaze never faltering. Please, I whispered, brushing her cheek. Just give me 12 months. Let me take you away. I'll bring you back right after the baby is born. If it's about your brother's health, I'll hire a private jet for the three of you. You'll be in my most secure house, far from all this madness. She hesitated, then looked around the sterile hospital room and murmured, Can we talk about this somewhere else? You know how I feel about hospitals. I nodded. All right, I'll speak to the doctor first. I stood but didn't move. Something in me refused to step away from her. A lingering fear pulsed through my veins, as if I turned my back for 1 second. Something would take her from me again. Jayden, she called my name gently, placing her hand on mine. I looked down. She was so damn beautiful. How could anyone despise a soul like hers? The people who heard her must be seriously deranged. The door suddenly flew open, slamming against the wall. Her brother rushed in, their grandmother trailing behind him. Please, big sister, don't get sick again. I don't like it, he said as he wrapped his arms around her. Before I could say anything more, Vanessa peeked in, her eyes locking on mine. Can we talk? Of course, I replied, and followed her into the hallway, but kept close enough to keep my eyes on Katrina's door. Nothing would happen to her. Not again. I'm her mate, her alpha, and if I have to burn down kingdoms to keep her safe, I will. The world had seen the gentle side of me for far too long. Are you even listening, Jayden? Vanessa whispered, shouted, pulling me from my thoughts. Sorry. What were you saying? She sighed. The girl who shoved Katrina into the kitchen island. She's one of the new students you brought in. And before you barrage me with questions, let me finish. My jaw clenched. She was obsessed with Sophie's spirit. My eyes widened. What the fuck are you talking about, Vanessa? Sophie? That woman died long ago. Why would she come back, and why target my mate? You're asking a witch if spirits exist? She lifted a brow. That's like asking God if Satan is real. I frowned. But why would Sophie want anything to do with Katrina? Her tone shifted, more serious now. I'm only telling you this so you don't hurt the girl who got pulled into this because of your ungrateful ex's ghost. I flinched at the mention of Sophie. I hated that anyone still referred to her as my ex. She wasn't just that. She was the mistake that cost innocent lives. I destroyed people who spoke against her, and if I could turn back time, I wouldn't hesitate to kill her myself. I'll deal with the ghost, Vanessa continued. Pamela and I will make sure she never causes more chaos in your home. Chaos to Katrina, I corrected sharply. She nodded, accepting the correction. Now be honest with me, I pressed. How much do you know that I don't, but should? Vanessa blinked, clearly caught off guard. What are you talking about? That ghost business, last week when your niece tried to kill Katrina, I overheard Pamela mention Luciana's name. I wanted to confront her about it, but my brother distracted me. My fists clenched just thinking about him. Whatever he's planning, I'll be ready. The door to Katrina's room creaked open, and I tensed instinctively. But it was just her brother, and her grandmother stepping out. Before I could speak, Katrina's voice slipped into my mind. I know what you're about to do. Save it. I'm still alive. I barely had time to react before her grandmother approached me with a stern expression. Let's talk, she said, pressing her lips into a thin line. Now that Katrina knows who she is, she's going to be hell to deal with. Stubborn, hard-headed. Those old ones revealed themselves to her, and they'll likely visit the human world soon to test her worth. She glanced over her shoulder at Katrina, who was laughing with her brother. The sight made my heart squeeze. She might act tough, the old woman continued, but she's still scared. Deep down, she's hurting. So before all that madness unfolds, do something special for her. Make her feel loved, desired, like she truly matters. She already does, I said quietly. I know. Just make sure she knows it too. I nodded. I will. We both looked at Katrina again. She was laughing so hard her dimples showed, her hand resting over her belly. Her brother must have said something about her pregnancy. That was the most joy I'd seen on her face in days. I wanted to make her smile like that every day for the rest of her life. Dr. Grace walked over, her tablet in hand. Pardon me, Alpha, she began, but I believe your mate isn't fully human, or not human at all. What makes you say that? I asked, already suspecting the answer. Well, she continued, you told me she couldn't conceive, but she's 4 weeks pregnant. That's biologically impossible. So how did it happen? I gave her a cold look. Grace, let it go. She nodded quickly. Of course, Alpha. She turned to leave, but I called after her. You didn't run another fertility test on her, did you? Of course not. I wouldn't cross that line again. Not after the last time. She hesitated. But I get the feeling you want to ask me something else. I mind-linked her. I do. What are some things that make women happy? She choked, coughing on her saliva. Are you serious? Dead serious. You're married. Help me out. What does your husband do to make you feel special? You're asking as your friend or Alpha? As my second closest friend, and I mean that. She softened. All right, you need to take her out on a real night date. There's a spontaneous spot that Aaron and I love. She'd like it. Also, the two of you need a distraction. Go on a small adventure. Reconnect in the human world. Katrina's voice entered my mind again. What are you two talking about that you're not finishing? She's coming this way, Grace whispered, and excused herself quickly. Katrina reached me, her brows slightly arched. Did she leave because of me? No, baby, I said, wrapping an arm around her waist. We were done talking. She squinted. You guys talked forever. Did you forget I'm a patient who's supposed to be resting? How are you feeling now? I'm fine, Jaden. What do I have to do to prove that to you? You don't have to prove anything. I already know. I glanced over at her family, still waiting. Then I looked back at her. Tell them to go home with Vanessa, I said softly. You and I are going on a little escape to the human world.
Gabriel's point of view.
It hadn't even been half an hour since Katrina's grandmother dropped the bomb about my stepmother's scheme when one of the elders, who's been keeping an eye on them, barged into my office during an online meeting with Zale, the alpha of the willpower pack. I tore my gaze away from the laptop and fixed her with a death glare. She visibly trembled under it. "Are you mute?" I barked. She swallowed hard. "Luna is leaving with her family. They've just left the house," she stammered in her broken voice. "Are you certain?" I asked, momentarily forgetting about Zale. "I'm sure," she nodded. "All right, you can leave, but before you do, consider this your first and last warning. Don't ever barge into my office or any other place like that again. Today I'm letting it slide, but if it happens a second time, I'll forget the importance you hold in this house. Am I clear?" Yes, Alpha," she replied, jittery, then quickly closed the door behind her. The moment the door shut, I sprang from my chair and stormed to the window. Outside, the Redwood Pax man was loading suitcases into the trunk of a black car. I didn't want to believe Pumpkin would take her family without so much as a word, but there it was. He climbed in and drove them away. It felt like he was driving Katrina out of my life. I pressed my forehead to the cold glass, staring at the empty driveway where the car had vanished. What happened? Why did they leave without telling me? They had to, right? They'd been under my roof for over 3 weeks, mingling with pack members, becoming part of the family. I knew Katrina wanted to take them to the Red Moon Pack eventually, but I hoped she'd do it with my knowledge. What did I do to deserve this? Hours ago, she was beside me, soothing my restless thoughts, and now, gone like I never mattered. Damn it, it hurts. "Gabriel, are you still there?" Zale's voice jolted me back to the laptop screen. "Everything okay?" he asked, his tone casual. "Sorry for the interruption. Let's get back to business," I said, forcing calm. "I'm sending you Christina's work address. She's the one with the info you want, but fair warning, she won't come cheap." "Are you sure she's his daughter?" I asked, narrowing my eyes. "You know I never give you wrong info," Zale replied smugly. "Thanks, man," I said. He chuckled. "Anything for the Blood Moon Pack? What are your plans after you meet Christina?" he pressed. "That depends on what she tells me," I said flatly. "I'll be in touch." I closed the laptop, then my phone buzzed. A new message with the address. It would take almost an hour to get there. Without wasting a second, I grabbed my car keys and headed out, but Zale's words echoed in my mind. She only works day shifts. There's no way I'm crashing at the pack house tonight. I'd rather drown my head in a club and forget, at least for a few hours. If I don't, I might end up murdering my stepmother. Or driving straight to the Red Moon Pack to find my mate. After an hour of winding drives and scouting, I found the perfect club. The moment I stepped in, smoke and the scent of cigars hit me hard. Strippers swirled all over, some dancing on poles, others trying desperately to lure the crowd. The noise was unbearable, but at least the music wasn't completely ruined. I slid into a cozy corner with the strongest rum on the table and fixed my gaze on a girl dancing like a newborn colt, awkward, out of rhythm. I snorted. How did she get this gig when she has no clue? She kept her distance from the crowd, too shy to make any real money. I motioned the bartender to send her over. When she arrived, I took in the sight, painfully thin, a fresh healing wound on her right shoulder. A turnoff. "Are you really a stripper?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. She shot me a glare but didn't answer. I ordered, "Stop staring and dance." She started moving again, but her lack of skill made me laugh out loud. She froze, confusion on her face. "What's so funny?" she demanded. "Look at you. Your moves scream, go back where you came from. And I'm not in the mood for that nonsense. I came here to drown my thoughts, not watch a disaster," I said. She cut me off, eyes blazing. "How are you any different from the creeps throwing money at me?" Before I could answer, she grabbed my rum glass, chugged it down, then slammed it onto the table. "I'm done," she said, turning to leave. Then suddenly she spun around, pressed her trembling lips to mine. I pushed her off, spinning her to the floor. She whimpered, then dropped to her knees, clutching my legs. "Run for your life, woman. I don't do cheap tricks." The music surged louder, drawing attention. A tall, muscular man with striking blue hair appeared, flanked by others, and stared daggers at me. The girl, still kneeling, pleaded in a trembling voice, "Please be my boyfriend. Just for 5 minutes." The blue-haired man smirked. "Long time no see, Paige." "Please," she whispered, tears streaming. 2 minutes. I'll do anything." I shoved her away and downed another shot. Whatever their problem was, it wasn't mine. Before they could approach, she vanished into the crowd. "Go get her," the blue-haired man barked, shoving a follower toward me. They shot me dark looks before melting away. This is not how I wanted to spend my night. Frustrated, I emptied the bottle, paid, and headed for the door. As I reached my car, a woman's piercing scream cut through the noise. I ignored it. It wasn't my fight. But then, Katrina's voice echoed in my mind. "Aren't you going to check on her? What if she needs help?" I slammed the brakes and turned, expecting nothing. But there she was, in my car. "Pumpkin? How did you—" She vanished before I could finish. Damn it, I'm losing my mind. I miss her more than I thought possible. If only she were here. I headed back toward the noise. The club was empty, but cars and bikes were still parked. I followed the scent trail into the bushes. What I found sickened me. Those freaks had beaten her badly, blood leaking from her mouth and nose. The blue-haired man was harassing her again. "Let her go, you fuckers," I growled. They turned, startled. The blue-haired man fixed his smug grin and swaggered toward me. "Do we look like fools to you?" he sneered. "Saw you back there, smelled trouble. But you're playing with death." I cracked my knuckles. "Is that all you've got? Let me teach you how to hit an enemy." My fist slammed into his face and he crumpled silently. The others dropped her and scrambled. I shifted into wolf form, ripping the first one's head clean off. Their terrified faces were priceless. The look of seeing the biggest wolf of their lives, and knowing it's their last sight. I tore through them mercilessly. When I was done, I stomped over to the blue-haired man who was barely conscious. "I'll let you live. For the police," I snarled, spitting blood onto his face. He couldn't even respond before collapsing again. The next afternoon, I drove to the address Zale gave me. The doors slid open as I entered. Inside was quiet, clean, classically decorated with soft music floating in the air. The place smelled fresh, something Pumpkin would love. "Hello, sir. Welcome to Aviator's Restaurant," a voice greeted. I turned and froze. It was the girl from the club, the stripper, now in a smart waitress uniform. She looked bruised and tired, but damn, she had energy after last night. "Do you have a reservation?" she asked, avoiding my gaze. "No," I said. "I'm looking for Christina. She works here." Her eyes went wide, and the iPad in her hand slipped and hit the floor. "No." She hunched down to gather the cracked iPad. "I'm done for," she murmured. I walked closer and grasped her hand firmly, helping her to her feet so she would face me. "What do you mean there's no one by that name?" I asked sharply. "Do you happen to know the person I'm looking for?" Before she could answer, a woman around her age approached us, her gaze flickering between me, Paige, the cracked iPad, and the hand I still held. "What's going on here, Maureen?" she asked, voice sharp. "You're always bringing trouble." I thought, how many names does she have? Last time I heard she was called Paige. "Sir, did she give you a hard time?" the woman asked, turning her focus to me. "No, she was trying to help. I just knocked her down by accident," I replied honestly. She studied me skeptically, then nodded. "All right, Maureen, you can go. I'll attend to him." "I want her," I said curtly. "Delia and Maureen, what's going on over there?" came a gruff voice through a walkie-talkie. "Come on, girls, get to work. Delia, head to table 4. Delia glanced at Paige, or Maureen, before dismissing her with a cold glare. "Consider this your last day here, and him your last patron." Then she walked away. I began to head toward the table when Maureen stopped me. "All those tables are reserved," she said quietly. "Since you don't have a reservation, let me show you where you'll sit." I nodded and followed her. Pulling out my phone, I scanned the QR code and browsed the menu. The food options looked good, but I had no appetite. "Just get me a Black Russian, that's all." She gave me a look. "Is that all?" When she went off to place the order, someone yelled at the waitress to turn up the TV volume. On the screen, the news showed the bodies of the men I had killed last night. Grim, black, and white images. The blue-haired creep was narrating the story. The police warned residents to beware of a wild, stray wolf on the loose. I didn't realize Maureen was nearby until a sudden crash of breaking glass drew everyone's attention. The news must have shaken her. There was some connection. Some reason why she stumbled backwards and fled. "Is she all right?" Murmurs rippled through the restaurant. I rose to follow her, but caught sight of Katrina deep in conversation with an unfamiliar woman. My heart stuttered, then raced, and euphoria flooded me. "Katrina!" I called her name like a prayer. She looked up past the stranger, locking eyes with me. That smile, the one that drives me insane, lit up her face. Then it vanished, replaced by worry and fear. "No, no," she whispered repeatedly. I stepped closer to find out what was wrong, but she held up a trembling hand. "Don't come near me," she cried. and bolted out the door. I chased after her, but the more I approached, the more terrified she became. "Please, Gabriel, don't come near me," she pleaded. But I couldn't just stand there watching her break down. Ignoring her pleas, I caught her in my arms. "What's wrong? Why are you so scared of me, pumpkin?" "It's me. You know I'd never hurt you. Why are you running away?" She shook her head, voice trembling. "This can't be real." She slipped from my embrace and tried to run again, but tripped and crashed to the ground. "You're scaring me now," I whispered, heart heavy. People began to gather around, staring. Jaden burst through the crowd, knocking people aside as he swept Katrina into his arms. "Are you all right, baby?" he asked gently. "Just get me out of here," she whispered. Jaden's glare found me, a cold, dangerous look. "You'll have to explain this to me." He mind-linked before carrying Katrina through the crowd to his car. I stood frozen, a mixture of despair and confusion washing over me as everyone's eyes burned into my skin. Pulling myself together, I headed to my car. Using my powers, I collected Maureen's scent trail and followed it to an old, dilapidated apartment building, barely standing, likely abandoned for years. I knocked on the door where her scent was strongest, mixed faintly with that of a child's. No answer. "Maureen, Paige, open this door before I break it down. I know you're in there." Still nothing. I stepped back and kicked. The door creaked open slightly. She peered out cautiously. "I told you, I'm not Christina. What do you want from me?" I surged forward and held the door open before she could slam it shut. "You never told me you weren't her," I said. "What does that mean? Are you Christina?" "Who are you? What do you want?" she demanded, eyes wide with fear. "Does that mean you are Christina?" "There are answers I need." "About my stepmother." "I mean no harm to you, or the child you're hiding in that closet." Her eyes flickered with terror and confusion. "What answers? What do you know?" "Zale said you know something about Cora. How do you know her? What do you know about her?" She swallowed hard. "She brutally killed my mother, accusing her of cheating, which wasn't true. She wouldn't even let me mourn her. Instead, she sold me as a sex slave to a man who then traded me to his partner's son. That woman destroyed countless lives for her own selfish pleasure. If she wants something, she makes sure she gets it." "Is that blue-haired creep and his gang the reason you're stuck in this life?" I asked gently. She nodded, tears welling in her eyes. "Is he the father of your child?" "I don't know," she whispered. "So how do you live here? Don't you have a family?" She lifted her chin and stared at me. "Why are you so concerned about my life? What's the real reason you came after me?" I froze for a moment, heart pounding wildly. What's wrong with me? Why am I so concerned wanting to protect her? No, that's not me. The only woman I care for like that is Katrina. She's the only one who stirs my heart, and then what is this feeling?
Katrina's point of view.
I told Jaden to stop the car, and without hesitation, he did. I unbuckled my seatbelt and hurried out, sprinting toward the edge of the woods. When I reached the tree line, my legs gave way, and I sank to my knees, overwhelmed by a wave of helplessness and dread. What if Gabriel lost his life because of me? Jaden's proposal had seemed like a blessing, a chance at something new, something normal. I'd never been on a proper date before, and for a moment, I'd wanted to embrace that. But now, all I wanted was to have stayed home with my brother, safe and sound. "Are you all right, baby?" Jaden's voice cut through my turmoil as he stepped closer. I clenched my stomach, nausea twisting inside me, but no matter how hard I tried, nothing came up. Was it fear? Worry? I wasn't sure. "What is it?" Jaden crouched beside me, his concern clear in his voice. "Does your stomach hurt? Should I take you to the hospital?" I squeezed his hand gently. "I'm okay, Jaden. I just needed some fresh air." I sank onto the cool earth, drawing in deep breaths. He studied me carefully, his ocean blue eyes sharp and wary. "This isn't about pregnancy, is it? It's about Gabriel." I stayed silent. I knew how uncomfortable Jaden felt whenever Gabriel was mentioned. Sensing my hesitation, he took both my hands in his, pressing a tender kiss onto them. "Look, baby," he said quietly, "I'm not going to lie. Anything involving Gabriel makes me uneasy. He's the man who tried to steal you away from me, but I'll listen, no matter what. Tell me what's on your mind." Taking a deep breath, I began, It all started with Gabriel's stepmother and brother. I overheard them plotting to end his life. I couldn't stay silent, especially after he told me about what he endured because of that woman. Lately, I've been seeing people in my dreams, warning me that his fate is sealed, and if I try to change it, I risk losing someone I love. My voice wavered. When I first suspected I was pregnant, I was terrified. But then, somehow, through Miss Oliver, Gabriel got a second chance, a way to survive. The price? My family and I have to stay far away from him. That's why I panicked when I saw him at the restaurant. And what hurts most is that I'm causing him pain without even giving him a reason. Jaden's jaw tightened, and I caught the flash of anger in his eyes. I knew my words struck a nerve, especially since I'd told him I was over Gabriel. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I didn't mean to bring him up." But Jaden's rough exterior softened. He smiled gently and kissed away the tears I didn't realize I was shedding. "Don't be sorry, baby. I believe nothing will happen to him. There's a reason they changed his fate, and I believe someone is protecting him, though I just hope that reason has nothing to do with you." I heard his unspoken words clearly in my mind. Suddenly, his face shifted. Without warning, he scooped me up in his arms and headed back toward the car. "Hi, brother," a deep voice called out from the shadows. Jaden stiffened, but kept moving until he reached the car, with me still cradled in his arms. "Who was that?" I asked nervously. "Stay inside," he ordered firmly. "I'll find out who he is." "Did you say brother? Do you have a brother?" I pressed, locking the car doors and sliding to the side for a better view. From the tree line emerged a tall, muscular man leaning casually against a tree, a cruel smirk playing on his lips as he approached Jaden. They exchanged terse words I couldn't hear, but tension hung thick in the air. Suddenly, Jaden half-shifted claws extended, and in a blur, he grabbed the man by the throat and ripped it out. Blood sprayed across them both, but the man didn't even flinch. The scene was horrifying. I fought the urge to turn away as the man licked the blood off his fingers, then tilted the severed head back with a sickening grin. I started to retch but forced myself to stay. Jaden's wolf growled low and menacingly, clearly furious at the intrusion. The man spat some final words that I caught enough to know they'd enraged Jaden. His wolf's furious growl echoed through the woods. Suddenly, the car door was ripped open, and a rough hand grabbed me. I screamed, struggling fiercely, but the man was too strong. "Katrina!" I heard Jaden's voice in my mind, desperate and commanding. The wolf charged, its growl deafening. It lunged for the man's head and bit down hard, tearing it clean off. Blood sprayed everywhere, warm and coppery on my skin and lips. My mouth hung open in horror. This wasn't something a pregnant woman should see or taste. The thought of swallowing blood human or not sent a shiver of fear through me. I panicked, breathing shallow and erratic. My captor loosened his grip just enough, and I slipped free, collapsing onto a soft, warm surface. Opening my eyes, I found myself lying atop Jaden's wolf, its enormous form protective and steady beneath me. "Katrina, are you okay?" His voice rumbled in my mind. Is that even a question?" I replied. "As long as the baby inside me is safe, I'm fine, even with all this blood." Carefully, Jaden's wolf shifted me off and stood tall, towering over me. It licked the blood from my face, eyes filled with fierce loyalty. "Don't worry, mate. I'm taking you home. As long as I breathe, no one will hurt you." Suddenly, the man I thought was dead surged back from behind the car and charged Jaden's wolf. "Jaden, behind you!" I screamed, but it was too late. The man plunged a syringe into the wolf's neck. A pained yelp ripped from Jaden's throat as the poison took hold. The man stepped toward me, smirking coldly. "I want to wash it off." "You must be my sister-in-law," he said with sick amusement. "You're beautiful." Before he could finish, Jaden's wolf slammed into him, throwing him clear across the clearing and shielding me protectively. The man scrambled up, glaring at the wolf. "Nice to meet you, sister-in-law. I hope this isn't our last encounter." Blinded by the wolf's fury, I watched as the creature spun, then calmed. "It's okay now, mate. Jaden's voice eased in my mind. We'll get back home safe. You and our baby. As he began shifting back to human form, a police car roared into the clearing. The sound of snapping bones echoed faintly. I looked back at Jaden, just as he finished shifting, ready for whatever came next.
Jaden's point of view.
I struggled to calm my wolf, wrestling with the urge to stay shifted. He was terrified. Terrified that Katrina would be taken from me again. That the child growing inside her might be lost. Come on, beast, I whispered inside my head. Let me shift back. I need to drive her home. You're scared for her, I get it. But she'll be safer at the pack house. We'll both breathe easier once she's there. Gradually, I felt his tension ease, the tightness in my muscles loosening. I shifted back to human form and moved toward Katrina. Her breathing was shallow and uneven, and that worried me more than I cared to admit. I reached out to help her up, but she pushed my hands away, pointing urgently behind me. I followed her gaze and froze. A police car sat idling nearby, 2 officers inside with wide eyes and mouths agape, clearly horrified by what they just witnessed. Without hesitation, I scooped Katrina into my arms and settled her carefully in the car. Her hand found mine, gripping tightly as she looked up at me, her eyes searching mine. What are you going to do to them? She asked through our mindling, voice shaking. You know I have no choice, I replied, voice low. Asterisk humans can't know about us. She released my hand and shut her eyes. I closed the car door, took a deep breath, and strode toward the police car. The officers saw me coming and immediately reached for their guns. No time to hesitate. I shifted and lunged at the closest one. The other fired, and I prayed they weren't silver bullets. I knocked him aside and sank my claws deep into his flesh, ripping through muscle and sinew. When both were down, I didn't waste a second. I returned to my car, grabbed fresh clothes from the trunk, changed quickly, then got behind the wheel and headed home. The drive was silent, but for once I felt a flicker of calm knowing Katrina's breathing had evened out, though her eyes remained hollow. Pulling into the driveway, I caught sight of a familiar car trailing behind us. I parked, stepped out, and opened the door to help Katrina inside. I can manage from here, she said through the mind link. She barely took 2 steps before Lauren burst out of the house and slammed Katrina to the ground. This is all because of you, Lauren screamed. I rushed forward, panic clawing at my throat. Katrina's eyes were wide with shock, her breath caught in her throat. Katrina, are you okay? I demanded. Suddenly, Gabriel's wolf exploded out of his car and charged at Lauren. I jumped between them just in time, but her claws slashed through my shirt and into my skin. The sting was sharp, pain blooming as blood seeped from the wounds. The pack tensed instantly, shifting into battle form. I barked an order to stand down, but Jerome ignored me, leaping at Gabriel's wolf. The 2 beasts tumbled, snarling and snapping in a violent struggle. Everyone, back to whatever the hell you were doing, I shouted. Aaliyah, get Lauren inside, now! Aaliyah moved quickly, hauling Lauren up. The color drained from Lauren's face, leaving her ghostly pale on the verge of collapse. How is she still here? Why is she acting like this? Katrina asked, voice trembling. Lauren never laid a hand on me before, except for harassment and hateful words. Did something happen to her? Why hasn't she left? I turned to her, meeting her piercing gaze. Do you know anything? She pressed. I hesitated. I'm sorry I didn't tell you earlier. Tell me what? Her tone was flat. She was attacked by the wolf, I said quietly. I don't know how it happened, but it did. Then why didn't you wipe that from her memory? Katrina asked sharply. There was no need, I said grimly. She'll soon become a werewolf herself. Without another word, she turned and walked away. I'll wash up and meet my brother. Don't follow me, I'll be fine. I watched her retreating form, a pain gnawing at my chest. Then I shifted my attention back to the fight. Gabriel had pinned Jerome's wolf to the ground, and Jerome was struggling desperately to break free. I charged over and pried Jerome off. Enough, both of you need to stop. Now, we have bigger problems. They shifted back reluctantly. I motioned for Gabriel to follow me and led him to Jerome's office. The moment we stepped inside, I exploded. What the fuck was that, Gabe? What the hell were you thinking? Did you expect me to just stand there when that little thing attacked my girl? He shot back, throwing a glare at Katrina. What are you doing here anyway? I came to see Katrina, he said, voice tight with emotion. Ever since she left my house without saying goodbye, I haven't been able to sleep. And seeing what happened today? Well, it only proves something's wrong, and I want to hear it from her. There's nothing you'll get from her, I said coldly. She chose to bring her family back to her real mate. That's me, Gabe. So stop with the games and stay away from my mate. His jaw clenched hard. Veins bulged on his forehead. I knew I'd hit a nerve. He lunged at me, snarling, and collared me fiercely. Never did I play with her feelings, he growled. She was mated to me first, and she still is. I grabbed him by the bare neck and growled back, She's marked, Gabe. I marked her. That makes her mine alone. Yes, you marked her, he snarled, but the mate bond between us is alive, stronger than ever. I'm sure she feels it too. Something is trying to drive us apart, but I won't let that happen. Go find yourself a mate and leave mine alone, I spat. We were moments from tearing each other apart when Katrina's guttural voice cut through the tension. We turned toward her. She stood calm but fierce, dressed in clean clothes, though the dried blood on her skin betrayed recent struggle. Her hands gripped two gleaming silver knives. Were you preparing something in the kitchen? I asked, confused. No, she said, teeth clenched. These are for you two. Since you can't keep your hands off each other's throats, maybe these will speed up your deaths. You grown men, alphas, are killing me. She thrust one knife toward me. I flinched, narrowly dodging the sharp tip. This one's for you, she said, snapping the other knife at Gabe. He winced, playing along. Careful, pumpkin. Don't pumpkin me, she snapped, her eyes flashing with pure fury. The fire in her gaze twisted my insides. I glanced at Gabe. He saw it too, that simmering aura of defiance and power. She threw down the knives and turned sharply to Gabe. Oh, you, follow me. That's why you followed her here, to talk to her, right? Now follow me, she commanded and strode away. I reached out and grabbed her hand to stop her, but before I could say anything, she was thrown backwards against Jerome's desk. I won't repeat myself, she said icily, glaring up at Gabe. Then she walked out. Aaliyah rushed inside, calling my name. I turned just in time to see her thrown back as well, caught off guard when she brushed against Katrina. Watch out, girl, Katrina said coolly, and then she left. Gabe followed without hesitation. Aaliyah groaned as she picked herself up. We have a problem, Alpha. Before I could ask what, she pressed on without pause. Lauren was bitten by a snake. We searched everywhere for it, but we couldn't find any trace, not even its trail in our wolf forms. What scares us most is that now she's acting strange. Lead the way, I said grimly, following this direction Katrina had taken. Gabe trailing behind, naked and tense. We reached the basement room where Lauren was being held. The stench hit me immediately, something foul and unnatural. Aaliyah was crouched in the corner, clamping a cloth over her mouth, while Aaliyah gasped in disbelief. What's wrong with her? Aaliyah asked. She has a snake bite mark, but none of us saw it, and we never left this room. Before I could process her words, Lauren's body convulsed violently. Scales of sickly green began to burn their way through her skin, spreading rapidly. She let out a piercing scream that echoed through the room, a sound so raw and full of agony it chilled me to the bone. The burning scales on Lauren's skin grew larger by the second, and her piercing screams cut through the air. Unbearable to hear. Go get Vanessa, I ordered one of the girls, who dashed out immediately. Help me, please, Lauren begged, tears streaming down her face as she looked up at me. I promise I won't poke my finger at her again. I'll be good. No, I'll leave this place for good. Part of me wanted to end her then and there, especially after she had pushed Katrina down. But seeing her like this, helpless, broken, was unsettling. The door burst open, and Vanessa, Pamela, and Elia hurried in. "What happened to her?" they asked together, noses wrinkled at the sharp, suffocating smell radiating from Lauren. "She turned like this just moments after attacking Katrina," I explained. The witches closed in, inspecting Lauren closely. The stench was overwhelming, but neither Vanessa nor Pamela flinched. Pamela closed her eyes and began chanting softly, waving her hands over Lauren's skin. Minutes passed, but Lauren's tortured form remained unchanged. "It's not working," Pamela admitted, eyes wide with disbelief. Vanessa took her turn, but her spell also failed. "Do you think it's that old man's doing?" I asked, dreading the answer. The two women exchanged a grim look, clearly weighing their options. Before they could decide, Katrina entered and went straight to Lauren's side. She bent close and whispered something into Lauren's ear. Slowly, Lauren's eyes shut tight and the burning scales began to vanish, her skin healing until she was whole again. Katrina turned sharply and walked toward me, her eyes blazing like wildfire. "As soon as I leave, give her a glass of cold water and some painkillers," she instructed, then slipped something into my hand before collapsing. "Keep an eye on Lauren," I told the girls as I lifted Katrina in my arms. "Vanessa, please bring her some water." "Right away," Vanessa answered, hurrying off. Carrying Katrina to our room, I spotted Gabe standing outside, leaning against a porch column, puffing on a cigarette. At least he had pants on this time. Asterisk. What is he still doing here? I wondered. He caught sight of Katrina in my arms and clenched his jaw. "I'll be in my car. We need to talk," he said, then strode away. Jerome and others in wolf form growled threateningly as Gabe passed, but he ignored them. "My head," Katrina mumbled weakly. I sat her on the bed, propping a pillow behind her. "What's wrong? How did you end up here?" I asked gently. She took a shaky breath. "Am I going crazy? The images I keep seeing, they scare me. Was it because I saw you rip a man's head off? Or maybe because I tasted human blood for the first time? Was that man even human?" "Katrina, calm down," I said, trying to soothe her. "What if the blood I drank wasn't human? What if it was vampire's blood? Am I turning into a vampire now? Will my baby be safe with a vampire mom? Oh my God, what if I suck my baby dry when I give birth?" I snapped at her. Not because I meant to, but because she was spiraling, and that wasn't good for her or the baby. The snap worked. She paused, staring into my eyes, the hurt there cutting through me. "The blood you swallowed wasn't vampires," I assured her. She exhaled slowly. "As for those visions, do you want to tell me about them?" Her lips pressed tight as she searched my eyes. I saw myself talking to Gabriel. When he stood close, I felt no fear or worry for him. I can't remember what we said, but I might have hurt him with my words, because the look he gave me made my heart ache. The kiss he gave me after that was real. No matter how good it felt, it didn't last. Then I saw him flung against a wall. After that, Lauren's body decomposed, then healed itself. Does any of that make sense? I stared back, stunned. The way she described the kiss floored me. "Katrina, everything you said happened. You did meet Gabriel, and the things you saw about Lauren were real. What I'm sure of is that someone invisible used your body for their own purpose." She was quiet, contemplative. "What are you thinking? Are you okay?" I asked, gently pulling her out of her thoughts by holding her hands. Tears danced in her eyes before spilling over. "Can't I just live a normal life? Have a normal relationship like everyone else? Why am I always caught in the middle of this?" "Look at me, Katrina," I said firmly. "Don't compare yourself to others. Everyone has their battles. You're a million times different and special to me. I'm sorry you keep getting hurt because of my problems. But give me a few days to fix things. I promise once I do, I'll get you out of here. Somewhere we can build happy memories. Jaden, I do like your house, I love your people, and I love you, but it still feels like I don't belong here. Maybe I'm just bad at making friends." I'm sorry I feel like this, she said, wiping her tears. I pulled her into a warm embrace. She broke away reluctantly. I'll lie down for a bit. I don't want Miss Olivier or my brother to see me like this. Good idea. Do you want me to stay? No, I want to be alone. I left and headed straight to Gabriel's car. As I approached, he stepped out, throwing me a hard glare. Let's talk, privately. His eyes swept the pack members standing guard. He led me away from prying ears and eyes. After ensuring no one was nearby, he turned, his face unreadable and cold as ice. When were you going to tell me about Katrina's guardians? Or whatever they are, I sneered. You've been calling Katrina your mate for months, yet you didn't know anything about her? Did she tell you about my stepmother and brother? He shot back. What did you expect, Gabe? Katrina is my woman. Just give it up and let us be. I can't do that, Gabriel said. Now that I know everything, I won't let her go. She did all this to protect me, because she cares. I stepped closer, leveling myself with him. Stop. I'm sick of these tedious love games you play. No, you stop. Stop living in denial. I love Katrina, Jaden. I'm not ready to lose her. I'll do whatever it takes to keep her smiling, even if it means working with you 24/7. So stop ignoring the truth. We're both mated to the same woman. Suddenly, Jerome, in wolf form, lunged from behind, sinking his teeth into Gabriel's right shoulder. Gabriel groaned through clenched teeth. For a brief moment, I felt a dark thrill watching Gabriel struggle beneath Jerome's fierce assault. It would be satisfying to see him gone, so I wouldn't have to compete for Katrina, but I knew she'd never forgive me if I let Gabriel die. I stepped in to pull them apart, but Gabriel clawed at Jerome's jaw, forcing him off. Let me make myself clear, Gabriel said, glaring as he walked away. I seethed until he disappeared out of sight. Jerome's blow to my face stunned me, followed quickly by a second. Am I really your friend? I whispered. How could you let that rat near Katrina? And when were you going to tell me you share the same woman? There's nothing you don't know, Jaden. How could you? I saw you as a brother, even if we aren't biologically related. I stepped toward him, reaching out, but he pushed me away without a word and walked off. Each step pained me. Besides Katrina, Jerome was the last person I wanted to hurt. From the corner of my eye, I caught someone rushing away. Whoever overheard this will spread it by morning, and that will ignite disaster.
In the sun